like we're back in the studio. Los Angeles, 1997.
That's a good analogy.
Brett Gurewitz behind the controls. This is Brett.
I don't need to tell the truth, but I never lie. I don't need to bow to you. You're just passing by. I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I'll come back to you. Get inside my troubled mind with all of your threats. Sometimes I think I was blind. Not before we met. I never wanted to be the one that you depend on for your life. When you cry, it smells like soup. Sound like Shona Knife. Never feel though I said all night. I gotta ride. Each time I stayed all night. No, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night. You're an evil little girl. I'm a twisted man, tearing through your perfect world. Make you understand. I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I'll come back to you and do the things you do. Stay all night. I've gotta ride. Each time I stay all night. No, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all. I would never treat you bad. You deserve the best from me. If you want to keep your place, you better get down on yours.
Yeah, Todd wrote this one.
Yeah. You think?
This is not mine.
Stayed all night, I gotta ride. Each time I stayed all night, no, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night.
That's the round robin.
R.I.P. Todd.
Questions, comments, wagers, give us a reason. Sleeper fantasy play, your best alternative line, whatever you have. Text the round robin 757-354-5517.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose cross nights and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, take us that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
You are tuned in to the Round Robin with Stephen Murray on Deep End Broadcasting.
Get me down off in these streets. is on the bed. Wherever head I see the crowd and flashing blue red lights. I'd rather see the crowd and have some fun. Never know what's going on, just happy to reason.
Week 14 of the NFL. Are you serious right now? We have full-on December football. A full week in. We are in a double digits days in December. Can you believe that already? We are the Deep End Broadcasting Network. This is the Round Robin. That is the lovely, docile tones of the Pie Tasters, the house band of the Round Robin. And we are live from the beautiful coastal shorelines of Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. It is 6:07, and we are your first look at everything on the NFL wagering slate today, week 14, looking to invest the minimum to make the maximum reward for all of you guys. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. We are live. This is your first look at everything in the NFL, and that's what we do. We're going to do a deep dive, see what kind of value we can find, and we're going to try to put down $20, maybe $40, maybe $100. If we're getting really frisky, maybe $200, and we are going to try to turn that into thousands of dollars. And if that's something that you like, then tag along for this ride. All right. Thank you for tuning in. We need to get right to business. Of course, a lot coming up. Dave Grande in his usual spot here in a few minutes. So he has a lot of good stuff to say. I know he does. So you'll want to be in tune to that. Dave Grande from Field Level Media out in the San Francisco Bay Area. Warning, too, he says there is some crazy named rainstorm today. So if you're looking for over points in the San Francisco Tampa Bay football game, you might as well completely rethink your thoughts on that one, because apparently the monsoon is coming off the Pacific Ocean and completely drenching Levi Stadium and the surrounding areas. And that appears to be the case for about a good 36 to 48 hour stretch straight. So it's just not a typical California rain. It is a full-on 2-day rain event of mass proportion, to the point, well, you know, if they go ahead and they name a storm after you when you're not a hurricane or something like that, you know, the thunder snow of death storm, I think we've all heard something like that, or I don't know, all kinds of silly names they have for these things. So we'll see what he says about that. And then, you know, everything else, AFC West, NFC West, and we'll pick his brain on a few other things as well. Weird fantasy week. We have 6 teams on a bye. I'll ask that first off. He's the fantasy expert. But teams on a bye this week: Bears, Packers, Saints, Commanders, Colts, and Falcons. So if you have any of those players in your fantasy lineups, and you are in a crucial spot, because this is the week where most of the teams are fighting that one last game to get into the playoffs. You know, this is it. Yeah, if you have a good fantasy team, you can win some money here in the next couple weeks. If you don't, you're done. You know, and I think I've welcomed the end of the season on many occasions for sure. I haven't won my fantasy league. It's probably been about 10 years, to be honest, since I've actually won one. I've come in third a few times, and I'll blame injuries every other year. How about that? Because I don't think I've ever put a bad fantasy team out there. Maybe one of those with superstars that seems to underachieve and not get the job done at the end of the day, a la the Green Bay Packers or you know, something like that. But, you know, I can't even give the Packers that much credit because of all the, you know, I guess no names they have in the skill positions, except for one, Christian Watson. How about this? We've had Christian Watson 3 weeks in a row with 2 touchdowns and a catch. That's an unheard of run. Can we take him today for 2? We can't, because, you know what? The Packers are on a bye, like we said And you can't use Christian Watson if he's in your fantasy lineup. You're going to have to go onto the bench. Chris Olave, for me, I'm going to have to put him on the bench. I got depth. Put it this way for me, though. I can only – if I lose today in my fantasy game, I actually will drop from a 3 seed to a 4 seed. We have 6 teams who are going to make this round of playoffs, which is ridiculous, to be honest. Ant-Man, commissioner. But if I lose, I can only – if I lose, I'm gonna get the 6th seed, which is Jody. If you're out there listening, so Jody is the assassin of the league. She wins all the time. Not having the best years, but that will be my first round matchup as a 6th seed for her, the worst 6th seed of all time. But at 9-4, and I've won. Let's see, I think 7 in a row. I think I went 2-0. I'll have to look. 2-0 to 2-4, and I haven't lost since. So I've won 7 in a row. My team is deep. And Jody, if I do encounter you, I'm going to get it. I'm getting it this year. So we're not afraid of that scenario at all. Okay, we want to look at weather right off the bat, and then we'll go ahead and get a updated point spread scenario. We'll see what we got there. In fact, let me go ahead and get that up right now as I well with you. Obviously, if you are a listener at the 6 o'clock hour, you're used to one, you don't sleep like I do. You're up working, probably, number 2. And then 3, you are tuning in. You're not caring about our audio issues too much because you haven't told me until I encounter them myself. Actually, people do reach out and let me know what's going on. But, yeah, hey, man, if nothing better to do at 6 a.m. on a Sunday, why not put on the round robin on your phone and listen to us? Who doesn't want to win thousands of dollars today? Literally. Okay, so let me get to my point spreads here. We'll pull those up, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a quick weather recount. I am completely updated on the weather. That's the one big chore I made sure I did as our worst weatherman on the Deep End Broadcasting Network, me, Stephen Murray, the worst weatherman. Because whenever I say something's happening, it doesn't. Or, beautiful skies out today, postcard day out here on the East Coast, and then everything's drenched in rain. Detroit indoors, no issues there. That line is now 1.5. Detroit the favorite, 51.5. No line movement there from the ticker. Do I have the ticker up? Let's make sure we got the ticker up. No, let's get the ticker up. There we go. There's the ticker. The CP Shuckers Deep End ticker. It is Christmas party time, people. So when you're hearing the Pie Tasters play Up All Night or here on the broadcast, yeah, I haven't been up all night, but here we go again. 3.5 hours of sleep. It's amazing what a shower does to you to wake you up. If whoever says a shower won't sober you up has no idea what they're talking about. Literally. You've heard that, right? Oh, you're drunk, you take a shower, now you're still drunk, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, technically you're still drunk, but you're definitely a much more alert MFer, I'll tell you that. Which I'll thank my beautiful shower today. Okay, Detroit, 1.5, 51.5. In Buffalo, looks like a weather game there. Snow, rain, sleet, ice, I don't even know. But weather for sure. Precipitation, we shall say. And a cold day there in Buffalo. So we're going to have to pay close attention to that one. Of course, I have one play from 3 days ago where I love the over in this game, which I don't know why. Both teams are the top 10 in defense with the Jets and the Bills. But the Bills are 10-point favorites, and 43.5 is the total. No line movement there. Steelers could be a precipitation game early, but they host the Ravens. No Lamar Jackson today. Steelers -1.5, 36.5. That line seems to be dropping on the total, but I think that's what we had yesterday, 36.5. Check your ticker and I'll update it here when we get Del Grande on here. But I think that line's down a point, but down a point from a couple days ago. Eagles, a full touchdown and extra point, 7-point favorite on the road at MetLife Stadium, over under 44.5. Looks like actually okay weather in MetLife. You know what? That's the one place I didn't check. So don't let me lie to you. So let's go ahead and pull up the MetLife weather real quick. Do they still get the Meadowlands, if I say that? Yes, they do. Meadowlands weather today. Looks like rain early or late. I can't tell by the graphic, but not at game time. And decent temps, actually. Cincinnati, actually a nice day in Cincinnati. No weather there. The Bengals -5.5 and 46.5. Tennessee, Nashville, no weather there. Nice warmer day, actually. -3.5, over under 40.5. I don't know why something screams over to me on this game. I'm not going to go on the over tirade like I did last week. Man, actually, is this the week? I'll have to look at this more as the show goes. That's the best thing about this show. I learned things too. We went on an over rampage last week. Actually, did decent. Most everything I think we said would happen last week happened. Just nothing alternate. Maybe I just need to be a straight up player in the NFL, but that's no fun. We're here to make lots of money, okay? I don't want to win $20, people. I don't want you to win $20. I want you to win $20,000. All right. So that's the goal today. Cincinnati 5.5, 46.5. That over under, I feel like, is up a little bit. Check the ticker. All right. Tennessee, we talked about that. 3.5, 40.5. The Cowboys home against the Texans. 2 wide receivers out for Houston as well. The Texans haven't lost a game by more than 18 points all year, but here they are, 17.5-point underdogs in Dallas, over under 44.5. I have a sneaky suspicion Dallas is going to completely floor these guys, to be honest. Kansas City is -9.5, 43.5 at Denver. That's a 4:05 game. 3 games of 4:05 today. We're back to the 3 games of 4:05. Can't stand it. Give us 4 games, please. It's much better when there's 4 games. With 6 teams on bye, too, which is crazy. How are 6 teams on bye? In week 14 of the NFL regular season is simply ridiculous. Carolina, they are in Seattle. No weather there. Seattle -4.5, over under 44.5. Okay. 49ers, big weather game there. Expect a slosh pit, complete disarray. Californians driving like idiots. They don't know how to drive in the rain anyway. It never rains there. -3.5 for the 49ers, over under 37.5. That line is stagnant. Night game, big fun one. Potentially, I feel like I say that every week, but this could be the real superstar 41-38 game or something. Miami -3.5. How's Miami a 3.5-point favorite over Justin Herbert? Over under 53.5. The Dolphins 3.5, 53.5 at the Chargers. So good night game there. 8:20 kickoff Eastern from SoFi Stadium. And tomorrow night, one last game. New England, they are laying 1.5 points on the road in Arizona, over under 43.5. Okay, so weather games today are San Francisco for sure and Buffalo. Those look like the 2 big ones. Pittsburgh, there's precipitation unknown. It looks like it may clear out. We're going to have to pay attention to that as we move through the morning. We have the return of the Ant-Man. He should be a little bit more in tune to the weather when he gets in the studio as well. He was out on his, I'm not going to say deathbed, but yes, the bronchitis strain of whatever's going on definitely hit the neighborhood. I was suffering a little bit myself. Earlier in the week, no gym for me. I had to sit it out for a few days, so that was kind of lame. After having great successful momentum in that regard, but feeling much, much better here in the last couple of days. So yes, the Ant-Man, he will be back, and we're going to get his angles on fantasy, see what he likes today, all that. Nephew Dave, he'll be in the studio as well. He got a lot going on. He's got the Christmas trees. So if you need a Christmas tree, there's a fresh new batch right down the block here. If you're in the Virginia Beach area, you can go to the corner of Salina and Rosemont and see Nephew Dave on site for that. Also, what the puck is going on? Nephew Dave's hockey show, which I had a real nice hockey winner this week. Thank you, Nephew Dave, to be honest. The hockey show has actually taught me a lot, helping out with that with Dave. And we were able to cash some nice hockey parlays this week for sure. Needing 2 goals by the Rangers in the third period. It's just one of those, like, there's no way they're going to get 2 goals. Minka Sabanajad, our boy, stuffs one home. I got up out of bed, said, let me get a water, come back. By the time I get back, hopefully there will be a 3rd goal in net. And basically there was. I walked into, literally a minute after Minka scored. Another goal goes in for the Rangers. That puts me over my 2.5 goals, and we hit the big catch ticket. The goals didn't stop there. I think they ended up getting 4 total goals in that third period. So, when you think it's doomsday, here we go again, another loss. Sometimes they surprise you and give you that nice win. Moral of the story there. Okay, so not much line movement that we've seen. We got some weather games, Buffalo and San Fran in particular. Those are the 2. Decent chance of precipitation in Pittsburgh as well. We pay attention to all that. The Ant-Man will keep us more in tune to that as well when he comes on. Anything else from yesterday before we go ahead and take this break and get to Dave Del Grande? Let's see. Anything else? Let's see. England's out of the World Cup. They were my pick to win it all. We're done with World Cup soccer on our end. At this point, we don't even care. Go Croatia, maybe, I think. Let's see. What else? Anything else in the world of sports that we just need to touch on before we get down to some real business of making money here? Yeah, not that I can think of. Kind of a quiet weekend. We had the one NFL game in the books as well. Raiders and Rams. Raiders lose to Bay. The Raiders have now lost to a quarterback derelict off the streets and a hippie analyst center in his first head coaching debut. So the Raiders come up with very bad wins at very bad times this season. So the Raiders are falling more and more out of playoff contention, where they were I think 6 to 7 to 1 bet to get into the playoffs. They're on Thursday night. They're going to be well beyond that when that number gets back on the board this week. Army Navy went into double overtime. Is that what I heard? Something like that. I didn't see it at the end of it anyway. It was 7 to 3 when I tuned out and started to get ready for the festivities for the Christmas party. Shout out to Takeover Athletics for a great event there. And someone told me the game went into overtime, and the over finally hit at an Army Navy game. I think the over under yesterday was something like 9 and 41 and 3 to the over. Yeah. So only 9 times out of the last like 51 or 52 games in Army Navy have gone under the total. Somehow they creep over the total yesterday in multiple overtimes. So a lot of torn up, angry ticket players there, I think. Anything else of note? I don't think so. Okay. We're going to go ahead and take our break. And when we come back, We will have on Dave Del Grande. Fantasy playoff implications abound for many, many people out there. And there are 6 teams on a bye, which is completely ridiculous for week 14. So we're going to get into that. Everything else, AFC West, NFC West, and other stuff. We will be back right after this.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter? The constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Do you want to advertise with Deep End Broadcasting? Send us an email at deepend757@yahoo.com. That's deepend757@yahoo.com.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. You're behind the wheel. You may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
With us now in his usual spot from Field Level Media. He lives out on the West Coast. We talk NFC West, AFC West football every week and other topics. We have on Dave Del Grande. Dave, what's going on out there on the West Coast?
Oh, not good. Not good. It is storming today in San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Bad weather coming tomorrow. It never rains this hard. It even got some kind of title, a dragon storm or something.
Oh, wow.
And so, but, by East Coast standards, it's probably, a sprinkle. But by California standards, oh, my God, get me the rowboat.
Okay, sounds like we got an interesting game on deck then in San Francisco, so we'll get to that a little bit later. Let me ask you this first. Fantasy football overall. We have 6 teams on the bye week this week. Those teams are the Packers, Bears, Colts, who else? Falcons, Saints, and Commanders. All right. Is this bad plan? A lot of fantasy teams, they're looking to get into their playoffs. This is a very meaningful week for a lot of fantasy owners. Not necessarily me. I'm sitting nice at a 9-4 spot. I can't really gain any ground or lose much ground either. I'm kind of solidified in my playoff spot. But for a lot of people, they're going to have to dig a little deeper on their bench and sit some players this week. Is this poor planning by the NFL for fantasy owners with the 6 teams on a bye this week?
Terrible planning. First off, forget the fantasy angle. Who in the world thought it was a good idea to give teams in the heat of the, this is just getting interesting.
Yeah, right.
This is, almost every game on the board has some playoff significance, some for both teams this week, and you're sitting out, 20% of your league. That to me makes no sense. It's that even at a time of year when, between the Rams-Raider game Thursday night and the kickoff on Sunday morning, what else is there? Army-Navy? Meaningless college basketball? The Warriors-Celtics rematch? There's nothing going on. And now, on top of that, you're telling 6 fan bases, yeah, I know you got nothing going on, but guess what? You don't even have a football game this weekend. It's a terrible idea. And from the fantasy perspective, now you're going to say I'm biased because this is hitting me hard this week at a time when I probably need a win to get into the playoffs. But, I'm losing Watson this week from the Packers, who's been one of my big scorers. I'm losing Taysom Hill, who was a hero for me Monday night, shocking hero for me Monday night in the Saints game. Olave, who I would put in for Watson as one of my receivers, he's on a bye this week. I got and throw A.J. Dillon in there. I got 4 guys on a bye this week, and I only got 6 subs on my team. It was so bad I had to pick up Cam Akers off of waivers, and thank God, he caught that 4th down pass, a miracle catch at the goal line, and he got a 1st down, if he even got it, by inches. And then they gave it to him again on the next play. Because that was for a touchdown, I thought that was going to be a total disaster. At least he got me 9 or 10 points, when it looked like I was going to get like 1 or 2. So anyway, it's bad for fantasy, bad for the NFL. I just don't get it.
Okay, let's get. I don't get it either. So the last couple of weeks, I think we only had like a couple of teams each week with buys. What were they waiting for to put these 6 teams on buys for? They had plenty of opportunity to try to figure that out here in the last month or so. I don't know, just my take. I kind of really caught me off guard when I saw that there were 6 teams on a bye this week. Just really, really weird.
In trying to guess why this is happening, and this is only a guess, they must have thought they had a great matchup this week that they wanted everybody to watch. And by basically telling Packers fans and Redskins fans and the Saints fans and the other 3 that you don't get your game this week. But good news, we've got a marquee game we want everybody to watch. That would make some sense to me, but that game just doesn't exist. I'd say the 49ers and Buccaneers is probably the marquee game of the week. That's not enough to put six teams on a bye and tell them, hey, we're forcing you to watch this game because we really want to drive up the ratings in this one particular game. So I don't know. That's the only rationale I could have for something like this happening.
Okay, and we lose the game that we talk about with the game on Thursday night where the Rams win over the Raiders 17-16. So we'll go ahead and throw like we have been doing in the last couple of weeks. I'll give you a couple other random games. We'll start with your Detroit Lions. They host
there you go.
The Vikings, -1.5 point favorites, 51.5. This has to be a shootout, right? Both defenses.
First off, I got to tell you that bad news. I got a call from the Draft King, and he told me in no uncertain terms, I am no longer allowed to give you a lock anymore because the lights are dim at Draft Kings and FanDuel headquarters. with all of your customers jumping on my lock last week of Swift, over 14 rushing yards or whatever. His
19 and a
crazy
half. Yeah,
total
19
was.
and a half.
Oh my God! And so I'm sorry. They paid me more than you, so I cannot give out any more locks. So we'll have to look for a different term. But anyway, yes, this game. And there are. I mean, last week we talked about the late schedule having a bunch of high-scoring games. That's not the case this week. There are a lot of low-scoring games, especially if you're going to put the 49ers and Buccaneers in that group because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And so that magnifies this game. This is the one game on the board where you would say this has the potential to be fireworks. I mean, they already played once. I believe the score was 28-24. I'm pretty sure or maybe even higher. The total was in the 50s. I think this game, certainly the Lions are a far better offensive team now than they were early on in the season. This is a team that's firing on all cylinders. They may not be good enough to beat a high scoring team like the Vikings, but it's certainly going to be entertaining to watch. And I just think that this, from a fantasy perspective, from any perspective, this is a green light special. I mean, you want to be involved in this game with any number of receivers, any number of running backs, both quarterbacks, anything but defenses in this game. I'll even give you first off, I talked about Swift earlier. I was very encouraged by the number of touches he got last week. I felt, I've talked about this before, I made a trade for him in season at a time when he was coming back from an injury, and it looked like Williams, had taken over at least the goal line carries and leading the league in touchdowns. And Swift wasn't that Thanksgiving game. They kept giving it to Williams at the goal line, and oh my God, why did I trade for Swift? But now all of a sudden, he was, he had a majority of the touches last game. I think that's only going to be, he's the best back. He's going to continue to get more and more touches on a team that, scores 4 to 5 touchdowns every game. But I got a sleeper in this game, and that's Jamison Williams. He's, the big star receiver that they drafted, even though he was injured last year at Alabama, came back last week, played for the first time, only got in 8 snaps. They only threw the ball to him one time. It was incomplete. But he is kind of what Swift was 2 or 3 weeks ago. He's someone who's going to get more and more touches as we go along this season on a team that's throwing the ball like crazy. The first time around against the Vikings, Reynolds had a big game. Reynolds basically doesn't play anymore because Williams is now taking over his spot. They've got other receivers on the team, obviously. St. Brown and Chark, whatever his name is, who share in the receiving. But I think that we're going to see Williams game by game. I'm not saying this game he's going to catch 8 passes for 120 yards, but if I had to take a shot on a touchdown in this game on a guy who's probably somewhat of a long shot, I would jump on him. Among, like I said, I mean, you could go any different directions with 3 or 4 Vikings. You could go several directions with the Lions, but I'd look for a price on someone like Williams.
Plus 430.
There you go. I mean, that's nice because that's all that takes is one catch. They may only throw the ball to him 5 times this week, and he may only catch 3 of them. But he has the potential to make that one catch. Make a one meaningful catch. So he's my sleeper in a game where, like I said, you can't go wrong going 7 or 8 different directions.
And DeAndre Swift over under now this week at 35.5 yards.
Yeah, I mean that also still seems low to me.
Yeah, still seems low. Right?
It's but what scares me is this game is. I mean, let's be honest. Last week, one of the reasons you carried the ball a lot was because they got a big lead,
Right.
And they went more to their running game. I'm not sure that they get that advantage this week. Although, if you look at the first time they played, they had two big leads in that first game and blew them both. So I think the potential is there for them to get a nice lead. But the difference between the Vikings and the Jaguars is that the Vikings have the potential to come right back and match you with points. And so I think this is a great game. You got Goff as your fantasy quarterback, or have the option of playing him or picking him up or whatever. This is his game. This is the receivers are healthier than ever. He throws the ball to Swift out of the backfield, and this is, like I said, green light all the way here.
I think Goff's the reason why people like sports. I mean, this guy was, I'm not going to say he was left for dead, but, he was cut from the Rams for Stafford, or traded, right? Traded from the Rams for Stafford. They, figured they couldn't go all the way without Jared Goff. And it's not like the Lions exactly are going to go ahead and win the Super Bowl. But who knows in this crazy NFL year. But Goff, and we've talked about him before, just what a nice season he's had, really, for Detroit.
Oh, absolutely. He's a far better quarterback than people realize. And maybe they're starting to realize it. But if you watch the Lions play, he just throws the football better than your average NFL quarterback. I mean, you kind of see the difference of how he throws. I mean, Baker Mayfield, for as an example, on Thursday night, they're raving about what a great game he had, particularly there at the end. And you look at him throwing the ball. I mean, Goff throws the ball so much better than Mayfield ever has in his life, better than Cousins ever has in his life. And he's just, he kind of got pigeonholed on that Rams team as a guy who could only throw the ball, kind of like a Jimmy Garoppolo type, could only throw the ball short and into short windows. But that had to do with the offense they were running there at the time. I think, Detroit has a wider variety of receivers. They don't have Cooper Kupp that you can throw the ball to, 5 yards out of the backfield, and then he runs for 5 more and gets you, 10 first downs a game. But they have some deep threats. And Goff is getting an opportunity to show off, why he was the number one pick in the draft. You can't be the number one pick in the draft unless you've gone to, private workout sessions or the combine or wherever, and just shown, an incredible arm. And he does have an incredible arm. And so it's nice to see him getting this opportunity.
All right, let's go to a game in the AFC North. We have the Battle of Ohio. Cincinnati is a 5.5-point favorite. Home against Cleveland. Deshaun Watson didn't play so well, but they didn't need to play too good to go ahead and beat the Texans last week down there in Houston. But an interesting matchup nonetheless with the Browns and the Bengals. Can you see good fantasy output in this game?
Well, what scares me, I think Watson, I'm surprised he played as poorly as he did last week. And the biggest reason for that is it just seemed to me that if you haven't played in a year and you didn't have training camp and you're rusty and you're not going to be on your A game, at least run the ball. I mean, he's someone, he may not have thrown a lot of footballs in the last year, but I'm pretty sure he was working out his legs. No reason for him not to. And there's no reason for him not to have run the ball last week 4, 5, 6, even 8 times. And especially the way he was throwing it. And it just didn't happen. And I'm surprised it didn't happen. Because it's not like I'm saying, well, Jared Goff should have run the ball. No, he's not that kind of quarterback. But Watson is that kind of quarterback. And it's when you've got Kyler Murray or, you've got a quarterback, Hurt, you've got to run the ball. and when you take the running game away from Watson, well, then he becomes an average quarterback, and then you throw in the fact that how rusty he was, then he becomes a below average quarterback. I think he's going to do better things this week. I don't think it's really fantasy worthy. My concern about this game is, does Cleveland think of itself as a defensive team now that they had the incredible defensive fortune that they had last week, the 2 pick sixes or 2 defensive scores anyway, as well as the 1 special team score. I think it was the special team / defense game of the year in fantasy. But do they now think of themselves as, let's be conservative, let's let our defense try to win games like this? Because if that's the case, then that's going to impact the way this game is played. And the weather can't be great. And so I'm concerned about this game just based on the fact that I now have a new foreign respect for the Cleveland defense and maybe a new emphasis that they're going to put into a game like this. Cincinnati's kind of the opposite type of team. They can score points, obviously, with the best of them. But, last week against Kansas City was a very average scoring game. And I can see this game here being a very average scoring game where nothing, no real surprises come out of it. Yeah, a Chase will get his nice numbers, and the quarterback will get some nice numbers. And you got 2 good running backs in this game; they'll get decent numbers. But I just don't see that one matchup where you would say this guy's going to come up big this week. And maybe I'm totally overrating the Cleveland defense, but for 1 week anyway, I'm going to give them a lot of respect and kind of stay away from this game.
And they'll have a chance to play Buffalo on the field. But Cincinnati beating the Chiefs last week, and now Burrow is now 3-0 against Pat Mahomes. Is Cincinnati maybe the best team in the AFC, in your opinion?
No. I still think Buffalo is that team. They've struggled of late, and obviously having home field advantage in the playoffs is going to be huge, bigger for Buffalo than for any other team. If they can get that going into the playoffs, I think they will definitely be the team to beat, the clear favorite in the AFC. If that's the case, if they don't get that, then whoever does get it at least maybe becomes their equal. I don't know. I don't think Cincinnati is necessarily at that level. Kansas City doesn't seem to be as potent as they've been in the past. And so, we've talked about this all year. I think it's wide open for somebody to sneak in there to get hot at the last minute, and surprise some teams. It's hard to identify who that team is right now. You would think someone like the Chargers would have enough firepower, to battle those teams, but they aren't really on top of their game either.
Yeah, they have too many bad losses.
Right. But, the key is what happens from now to the end of the season,
Mm-hmm.
because that is where you build up your momentum going in. And that's what the team to me that's going to be the favorite in the AFC in the playoffs is the team that plays the best between now and the end of the regular season, because it's too jumbled right now. I mean, Kansas City could turn it on. Buffalo could turn it back on. Cincinnati's kind of been the most consistent of the group. Those 3 teams are there, but they're not unbeatable. And so the question is who, Miami is a good example of a team that could sneak in there. I mean, Miami's weapons, in the passing game are incredible. Miami's, unfortunately, their running game is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But defensively, they're fine. They've got probably the best passing game in the league the way it's going right now. And nobody's stopping Tyreek Hill these days. And so, they could be, as I talked about the Chargers being this kind of team, the Dolphins you would think would be even more likely to be that team because they're kind of building up to this. But anyway, the door is open for those teams going in. And like I said, don't try to predict today who's going to be the AFC favorite a month from now. You almost have to wait and see, who had the best record in weeks 13 to 17, and week 18 may not matter at that point, and say that okay, this team is the team to beat based on the fact that they are the one that's showing late in the season that they've got the best form.
Okay, 4:05 in Denver. The Kansas City Chiefs minus 9.5 point favorites. Over under 43.5. Denver sunk to a new low last week. If they can sink any lower by just getting 9 points in Baltimore, man, the free money, Dave. If you want to bet the Denver over every game, it's literally free money. The Chiefs, can they do what they want in this game?
I don't see why they would. Denver's defense, granted, last week Baltimore lost his quarterback, and that was a big issue. But Denver's defense is as good as any in the league.
Ranked second overall. Yep.
And Kansas City is not as potent as they've been in the past. Kansas City's running game is not stellar. They don't throw the ball to the back as well as they have. And their receivers, while they're good, they don't. Obviously they've got Kelsey, but their wideouts, they don't have Tyreek Hill, I guess is the best way to put it. They have, some decent outside receivers, and they spread the ball around pretty good, but they're missing that one big weapon on the outside that they've had in the past. My point is not that they're a terrible offensive team all of a sudden. They're just not an A+. They're almost an A- now. Mm-hmm. And when A- goes up against, A-level defense, which they are up against this week on the road, I just don't see Kansas City, certainly not going to score in the 30s. They'll end up in the 20s probably somewhere, maybe low 20s if Denver can stay in the game. And that's going to be the key. And the one thing that Wilson has done fairly well this year, not great, but fairly well, is avoid throwing the game away. He doesn't throw you the pick six that all of a sudden, oh man, Denver just gave up a pick six. They don't even, Denver might not even score a touchdown in this game. They just gave away 7 points. They kind of make you earn it. Their receivers are healthier than they've been during the season. Again, and not that makes a big deal because it's not like Wilson's going to light it up no matter who's playing with him. But they have a little bit more of an offense that, and so much of a key to high-scoring games is when you have an offense that can get the ball from the 20 to the 50, so that when you punt, the other team is starting at their own 10-yard line, rather than the team that goes 3 and out and punts from their 20, and next thing you know, in Kansas City starting their possession at their own 45-yard line, the one pass away from field goal. And I think Denver's offense has at least improved a little bit to the point where they can get a first down or two, kind of get the clock moving, and punt the ball, and force Kansas City to go longer distances. I don't, my point is that I mentioned this earlier, that this is one of those games this week that didn't really exist last week. This is one of the late window games where I don't see a whole lot of scoring in this game. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm kind of surprised the total's even in the 40s in a Denver game. I don't see how Denver scores 14 points. And if they don't score 14 points, then Kansas City's almost going to have to score in the 30s to get to where that number is. And Denver just doesn't give up 30 points. So I'd shy away from this game. Obviously you've got to play Mahomes if you have him, but I know Pacheco is a running back who's has become somewhat popular in fantasy. I don't see big things for him this week. I can't pick out any of Kansas City's receivers other than Kelsey. So I mean, those are two guys. Maybe their kicker, because the game's in Denver. Would be the only three Chiefs, and certainly no Broncos, that I have any interest in this game.
Okay, so interesting game there. As far as the Chiefs and the Broncos are concerned, can the Chiefs? I don't think they can clinch the division this week. I got to look that up a little bit more. Do you know that offhand? If the Chiefs can?
I don't know that, but I'd be shocked if that were the case.
I think so.
It's too early.
I think they need two more wins, right?
Yeah, because the Chargers aren't that bad.
6-6 overall for San Diego, and the
there
Chiefs
you
are
go.
now 9-3. Yep.
Yeah. So
do the math. Yep, we got 5 more games to play. So there you go. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go up to Seattle. That's an important game for the Seahawks. They're going to be hosting the Carolina Panthers, who, I don't know, man, Carolina, maybe the best 4-8 team who's ever gotten rid of a quarterback and fired their coach, too, kind of in a weird way. I mean, to be honest, they're still in the mix somehow. They trailed the Buccaneers by a couple games in that division and down there in the bottom of the playoff hunt. And like you said, a lot of bad teams down there last week, so who knows what can happen if someone can just kind of get hot. But an important game for Seattle. They're 7-5. They right now do hold the 7th spot in the playoffs and only trail San Francisco by the 1 game. And with the quarterback change there, we'll get more into that here when we get to the Niners. But a big game for Seattle. And the line in this game is, let's see, 4.5-point favorites for the Seahawks, over under 44.5. This is a 425 game. You already said probably not a lot of points scored in this 4 o'clock window. Does that apply to this game, do you think?
Absolutely. And the line in this game is an indication that what you would think is going to happen in this game probably won't happen. Because why isn't Seattle 1 game behind the 49ers, a 10-point favorite over a Carolina team that, like you said, has been a total disaster this year, down to their 3rd quarterback, terrible off. I mean, they're basically the Denver of the NFC. Why aren't they a 10-point favorite in this game? And the reason is, 2 reasons. First off, Seattle isn't that good. But secondly, Carolina is a lot like Denver. They hang in there. They don't give up, 25 points. They will find a way in this game, to keep Seattle to 24 or under, probably far under. And one of the reasons that they've done better, and if this game were 2 weeks from now and Carolina was out of the running, and you would say, oh man, this is exactly the opponent you want to face. A disinterested team comes across the country. They're all planning their, winter vacations. They have no interest. And meanwhile, Seattle's going for a division title. That's 2 weeks from now. Today, Carolina looks at the schedule and says, I see Tampa Bay losing at San Francisco. I see New Orleans is terrible and coming off a disastrous loss in their last game. The door is open here for us. All we got to do is beat Seattle, and we're still in it. I mean, this is something we talked about last week with these bad teams. 4-8, you would say, no chance to make the playoffs. But you know what? 5-8 after this week, and you look at the other teams, you say, wow, we're kind of still in this. Who are we playing? Let's win the next game. We put a 6-8. Heck, we're probably tied for first place. I mean, so they have an incentive. They have a very good defense, and they've solidified the quarterback situation. I mean, the quarterback situation now is so far better than at any other point this year. Darnold has come in, and while he's not great, like I said, he reminds me of Wilson and the fact that he's just a good enough, to not throw the game away, and B, to get you enough first downs and move the ball that keeps the clock running, that helps their defense. And I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina won this game. I wouldn't be shocked if it ended up coming down to a field goal at the end and maybe Seattle pulling it out. But, again, this is another game where I have no fantasy interest in this game. Seattle's got the offensive weapons, but they're really hurting at running back. And who knows who's going to play for them. They've got Penny, who's definitely still out. But then Walker and Dallas are both, questionable, both possibly injured. I mean, they could be down to a fourth running back and make them one-dimensional against a Carolina defense that, is going to prey on a one-dimensional team. So, I can't imagine having any fantasy interest in this game. I think it's going to be, a very low-scoring game.
Yeah, that could be it could be nap time in the 4:00 window, Eastern Standard Time for sure. With this card, okay, better game in San Francisco. We talked about it, potentially the marquee game, but now Garoppolo is out. Maybe a slight chance he can get back towards the end here. But have you heard this, Dave? I've heard about it a million times this week. Mr. Irrelevant is Brock Purdy. How many times have you heard that this week in the media?
Well, unfortunately, I've heard it way more than most anybody else because he's, when he was fighting for, when they drafted him, it was at a time when Garoppolo, they didn't think he was going to be around, right? They had a backup from last year, Garoppolo's backup from last year, who they gave a $2 million guarantee to, because Garoppolo, he gets hurt, and they were switching over to Lance, and they figured, well, Lance is a risk as well, so they needed a backup quarterback, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he, they gave him a $2 million guarantee because they figured he was going to be the backup. Then they bring Garoppolo in, and Purdy was going to be a, third string. I was on the taxi squad all year. Never see the light of day. Well, next thing you know, in the preseason, Purdy looks pretty good. And this other guy from last year, he's not looking so great. Why did we give him the $2 million? And so my point is, we saw a lot of Purdy in the preseason. We got all the last pick in the draft. Iowa State standout, Mr. Irrelevant, all this stuff. And sure enough, he played well enough to win the job over the guy with the guarantee. And now, of course, the way the dominoes have fallen, he moves in to get this incredible opportunity. And last week he looked decent for a guy who's never played. But problem is that he's basically a third or fourth string quarterback. And his only hope is that he's a good fit for Shanahan's offense. I mean, I've talked a lot about this before, how in the NFL, I don't understand when you have a certain style of quarterback, why your backup quarterback is the exact opposite style, kind of like Garoppolo and Lance. So when you got Garoppolo playing and you've got the short passing game going and he gets injured, you bring in Lance, and Lance doesn't throw the ball short. He throws deep and he runs around crazily, and you got to throw the game plan out. That's not the case here. This is a guy who's very similar to Garoppolo. And I'm not so sure he's, not as good a quarterback as Garoppolo. Just doesn't have the experience. So he's a good fit for their short passing game system. Problem is he just doesn't have the experience. And, you're up against Tampa Bay and what could be a very, very, very bad weather game. And those, to me, are the two scariest things about this game, is that you're against an elite defense and it's going to be bad weather. And so that, to me, is going to hold him back more than, I think, than his ability. Because like I said, I'm not convinced he's not as good as Garoppolo. Once he really gets his game going. I mean, last week they threw him in there, and they threw some of the same kind of patterns that Garoppolo threw, and you held your breath, and somehow it got through the tight windows and got to receivers. I mean, they ended up pulling out a big win last week against a pretty good Miami team. So, but it's you look at Tampa Bay. They've got the smartest quarterback in probably in NFL history. I mean, here's a guy who knows going in. All right, look, I'm up against a guy, who's not going to beat us. I can't give the game away. I got to keep handing the ball off. I'm going to throw my little 2-yard passes to Godwin 10 times during the game. This is another game where I think the visiting team can dominate the clock, keep it moving. Now, if Fournette is not healthy, losing him and not having him available for this game would be very important because they need to run the ball and work the clock. Like I said, NFL teams see bad weather all the time. Mm-hmm. I understand, but if the game were played right now, there's no way 24 points would be scored.
Right? Yeah. That looks like a super under for sure, right?
Right. They're not expecting the weather to be any better tomorrow than it is today. And my biggest concern about this game, and I would think Shanahan's smarter than this, but my biggest concern would be that Purdy would make a mistake or two that gives Tampa Bay, the cheap touchdown or cheap 10 points. That's going to make the difference in this game because it really is a game of the first team to 17 is going to win this game, and I'm not sure either team's going to get there. It could be a decent game for McCaffrey because the 49ers are going to have to lean on him big time. Mm-hmm. And it could be a decent game for White if Fournette's not playing. But if Fournette is playing, then it becomes not a good game for anybody other than maybe Godwin, who, like I said, they'll still throw the ball to Godwin 10 times. He may catch 10 passes for 18 yards. But still in fantasy, 10 catches are nice. I don't know. I think this could be, as low a scoring game as there is on the board this week. And it's too bad because it's, like I said, Tom Brady doesn't return to the Bay Area very often. People have been looking forward to this game for several years.
Yep, Tom Brady homecoming. Yep.
Yeah, and we get this.
Okay, so 3.5 points, by everything you're telling me, sounds like that's way too much for the Niners to.
Well, the problem is Tampa Bay is not very good. Mm-hmm. I mean, the funny story is that during the week, I've got a buddy who's a big Aaron Rodgers fan, and he hates Tom Brady. He absolutely despises Tom Brady, right? And he sent me an email early in the week that says, "Whoa, Tom Brady just retired." And I thought to myself, I'm not 100% surprised. First off, he's not playing well. Secondly, he's coming off an incredible, game-winning touchdown pass. Probably recognizes this team is not going anywhere the rest of the season. And if there's any way to end the season on a positive note, what better note than a nationally televised one more of his great comebacks and miracle wins? So I thought, I'm not really surprised he's throwing it in right now. And then, of course, it was all nonsense.
Right.
But my point is that, he's not playing well. The team's not playing well. That was kind of embarrassing, the Monday night game, until the very end. So it's almost like you look at this game and you say, wow, now that team is traveling across the country and they're playing one of the hottest teams going. Oh, man, the 49ers should name the score in this one. But then you look at the other side of it and you say, oh, boy, now I see why we're not naming the score, because the 49ers are in trouble themselves. So it's hard to get excited in this game about either team. And I just have too much respect for Brady to be able to deal with these kinds of elements. Not, like I said, it's that one mistake where the quarterback is hit and he fumbles, or he throws the ball, to the other team. If I had to guess between the two of them, which quarterback would make that mistake, I mean, it would almost obviously be Purdy. So, I think this is going to be a very close, very low scoring 13-10 kind of game.
Is it too soon to tell from your perspective? Obviously, you've had high aspirations for the 49ers. You said in the past that everything is set up for them right in front of them to win the Super Bowl. Do they need Jimmy Garoppolo to do that, or is the jury? Are you going to let the jury kind of still be out on Brock Purdy?
There's no way. There is no way. I'm sorry, I can't give you a lock, but I'm going to say there is no way Jimmy Garoppolo plays again.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, first off, they said 6 to 8 week injury on a guy who, first off, he always gets hurt, right? 6 to 8 weeks, and so you project that forward. You say, well, if they make the NFC Championship game, maybe he can come back. Well, think about that. How did they get to the NFC Championship game? Obviously, this guy that they put in at quarterback has been doing pretty good, and he's probably demonstrated if he's got, if the 49ers have beaten, I don't know who you would say, let's say let me go with, let's say the Giants. If the 49ers have beaten the Giants in the first round of the playoffs, and this guy's had a decent game, and he's done well enough that the 49ers won the division title, and he's probably at that point
he's
demonstrating something that I've said, that he's as good as Garoppolo. And so you get to the point where, okay, we've made the championship game. We just beat Dallas last week. Now we're playing the Eagles. Like, why are we thinking about changing quarterbacks? This guy we got is pretty good. This other guy is, it's not like this is Aaron Rodgers coming back from an injury. We got to get him in there. This is a guy we didn't really want in the first place, who plays a very similar game. I just don't see the scenario where we're hot, we're really rolling, and, oh, by the way, we're going to change quarterbacks. It just doesn't make any sense to me, even if he were healthy, which I don't think he's going to be at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, my point is, totally disregard anything you read about Jimmy Garoppolo possibly coming back this year. It is not going to happen.
All right. That's why we like you, the inside info out there in San Fran. Okay. Good game, I think, on Sunday night, at least on paper. Miami minus 3.5 at the Chargers. Over-under is 53.5. So a very high over-under for the Sunday night game. Can this game have a lot of fireworks?
There we go. They put the right game in the Sunday night slot. This should be a very entertaining game. This game is the closest game on the board to the Lions and Vikings. You got two really good offensive teams. I wouldn't say the Chargers are clicking on all cylinders, but they find a way to score in the mid-20s every week. They find a way to give up the mid-20s every week.
Right.
So they're the type of team that they're ripe for high-scoring games. Now this week they get Williams back, as a receiving threat. So they're finally ready to showcase their entire offense this week. And Miami is no great shakes defensively. I mean, they're decent, but they're not great. I certainly don't see the Chargers scoring less than what they have been scoring. So I can see them in the upper 20s and even into the 30s in this game. And meanwhile, like I said, the Chargers give up in the mid-20s every week, even to fairly average teams like Arizona. this is not an average offensive team. This is an elite offensive team that doesn't have much of a running game. And because they don't, they throw the ball. Last week's game, I don't know what the ratio of pass to run was, but it had to be like 50-10. And there's really no reason for that to change this week. They don't have, it's not like one of the running backs was injured and he's coming back. They just don't have a good running game. And they're going to air it out to their great receivers. And I don't see how the Chargers contain that. I think both teams have the potential to go into the 30s in this game. And again, like I said about the Lions game, this is a green light. You have Tua, you have either of their wideouts. Heck, I'd even take a shot with Wilson, who barely played last week. As someone, he's going to be the guy that gets the goal line carry, the cheap touchdown or two. And, when we see this with the Lions, we know with all those touchdowns that Williams scored, he's not a great back, but, when you get the ball, when you have a great offense, the guy runs out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Well, guess what happens next? They hand it to the guy plunging up the middle. And so, here's a guy who can get you a couple of cheap touchdowns. And meanwhile, on the other side, same thing. You've got great wideouts, you've got a great quarterback, you've got a great back who catches the ball a lot. But yet, this is a team that doesn't run the ball that much. If you're telling me that there's going to be 90 passes thrown in this game, and I think there's going to be more than that, there has to be 50 points scored. There's more likely there's going to be 60 points scored. So this is of all the bad games, all the low-scoring games we talked about out west this week, this is an opportunity to save up. Don't exhaust all your funds on the bad morning and afternoon games. Save it up for the night because there's, you're going to want to have something to invest, come night time.
And I don't think we've even had that 41-38 type of game yet. Can't really remember what the highest scoring game was of the season. I'd have to look that up, but we haven't had that crazy, like when the Browns played the Chargers, whatever that crazy score was, 51-48 or something ridiculous like that. Maybe that's this game on Sunday night, right?
It should be. There's really, weather's not going to be a factor.
Yep.
Key offensive injuries, at least going into the game.
Both defenses ranked in the 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's two defenses that are below average. I don't know. I just think that, and to me, the biggest thing of all, I've talked about this before in talking about the low scoring games in the West this week. When you're able to run the ball and milk the clock or throw your short passes and milk the clock, then, when you get the ball from the 20 to the 50 and then you punt it, you turn the game, you make it a lot more difficult for the game to be high scoring. And neither one of these teams is that kind of team. They're not going to run the ball. Like I said, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think Miami ran the ball like 10 times last game, and against 49ers. And it wasn't like it was a blowout the entire way. They were in that game. They were winning that game 7-0 after one play. And so, it's just the way that they have to play these days. Excuse me. And, it's just the way the Chargers play as well, because their star running back is more of a pass catcher anyway. So when you have a game where you can project, you've got two elite quarterbacks and you can project that they're each going to throw, upwards of 40, maybe close to 50 passes, it can't help but be, incredibly high scoring game.
Okay, Monday Night Football in the desert. The Cardinals are coming off a bye week. And when I was going through the defensive rankings this morning, there they are. As much slack as the offense gets from people, the Arizona defense ranks 32nd right now in the NFL. But maybe a cure for their blues is they have the New England offense coming into town with Mac Jones and company, and they've done nothing to move the ball with any kind of efficiency or success. Mac Jones with just 4 touchdowns on the year through the air, which is insane to say in December. But here we go, Patriots and Cardinals on Monday night. What will you be looking for in this game?
Well, I think this is a game where the Cardinals are done. They can't, I don't know why they're showing up this week. I mean, there's a tremendous emotional edge on New England's side, and they're the type of team that takes advantage of that.
Right, yeah.
And they, nobody suffocates you better than a Bill Belichick type of team. And
he's going to know it. Cliff Kingsbury, he drafted him too.
And this is a terrible spot for Arizona. I think that I think New England, as bad as they are offensively, they're going to find a way this week, to beat up on Arizona, whether it's running the ball, whether it's throwing their short passes, whatever it is, demoralize them, keep their defense on the field. And I think New England's going to win this game. I think New England's going to win this game rather handily.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I've got a sleeper touchdown guy in this game.
Oh yeah, that's what we want.
That's Hunter Henry.
Oh yeah.
Because Arizona's terrible in defending tight ends. I think they're the worst in the league. And New England, they throw the ball to the tight end. They got a quarterback who throws the ball short a lot. He'll look for his tight ends. It hasn't been a great year, for New England tight ends. But they haven't had an opportunity like this very often. I think Henry's building up to a nice game. To me, he's someone who I would take a shot at with 1 touchdown, even 2 touchdowns in this game. And I think that, like I said, New England, Stevenson ought to have a really nice game. And if in the end, it's possible that 1 or 2 of the Arizona receivers ends up having a nice game win because they're behind and they do nothing but throw in the second half. But I would look at New England for as many of the positives that that are out there.
31-1 odds for Hunter Henry to get 2 touchdowns.
I'm on that.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, let me ask you this. Before I get into next week, the plan for next week, what else do you have on your fantasy team? Any other sleepers across the league? Anything else in your fantasy world worth mentioning before we get out of here?
What's funny is that I like to read as many of the fantasy projections as I can, and every site seems to have somebody making fantasy picks, and you don't really know. They know what they're talking about. Right. They don't know what they're talking about. And I just clicked on one this morning, and I'm telling you, every one of my opponent's guys was listed as a potential sleeper high-scoring guy this week. And I thought, you've got to. I mean, I'm literally. He's got Tua. He has, of course, I'll forget all the guys he has. Oh, he has Pacheco. The guy has Pacheco has a potential, sleeper guy this week. He has Jerry Jeudy. As a surprise guy this week. How could you? And I looked at the guy's lineup. He's got 2 Broncos going. I was like, you got to be kidding me! The guy's handed me the game. And lo and behold, I read this article. Oh, Jerry Jeudy could be a surprise guy this week. You're kidding. And I think his other guys is the kicker, which makes more sense. He's got Kelsey, which of course he doesn't need to be a surprise guy. He's got Pacheco, like I said, which was listed as a surprise. I can't think of who his other running back is, but it was like, oh my God! I was thinking, it is in my league. It's one of those things where this is the last week of the regular season, and in my division, there's the top 4 teams are all in my division. So, and only 4 are going to make the playoffs, and the other division winner is going to be one of them, right? So one of us 4 isn't going to make it. And there's, you know, depending on how the results turn out, I could possibly be the odd man out. But if I win, I'll definitely make it. I'm playing the division leader, actually co-leader from the other side. So, you know, based on the season, I'm having a better season than him. But, you know, as I mentioned before, I'm not at full strength because of buys. And the other guys, you know, supposedly, you know, is ripe for a big week, according to this article I read today. So what I need to do is get back on the internet and find another article so that, you know, and see some of my guys mentioned, because I'm sticking with, I mentioned him last week and he was terrible. I won anyway, thank goodness. Like I said, thanks to Taysom Hill. But you know, I'm sticking with Zay Jones this week. And one of the reasons I am is, like I said, I've got Watson and Olave on bye. And Zay Jones did not have a good game last week against the Lions, of all things. But in reading up more about the matchup, you know, they were saying the Lions defend better against the deep ball than they do against the short ball, whereas the team Jacksonville's playing this week, which is who?
Jacksonville plays Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yep.
Tennessee tends to give up more long passes, which is more Jones' specialty. So I'm, you know, not only am I keeping him in there, but again, based on the one thing that I read that was positive, I'm going to say he's going to come up with a big, at least one big score this week, and help me come through, because, you know, I've got Goff, I've got Swift, you know, so I'm, you know, I've got my Lions going. So if they, you know, they come up big in their game, then I will. I'll hang with this guy's surprise. 2 Broncos. If I lose to a team with 2 Broncos, I shouldn't make the playoffs. I don't care what happens mathematically. I may just forfeit my playoff.
Do you ever find yourself saying, maybe I need to reevaluate what I have going on in life when I have so much invested on the Lions, maybe the Jaguars, you know, stuff like that?
Well, let me put it this way. I haven't thought about that, but many people have thought that about me. Yes. No doubt about it.
Okay.
The highlight of my week is, you know, how my fantasy team is doing on Sunday. And the second highlight of my week is how my fantasy team is doing on Monday.
I was looking actually for obscure overs, and somehow that Titans Jaguars game kind of made my list. Could you actually see that being a higher scoring game?
Well, I hope it is. I think the Jaguars, you know, should be that kind of a team. I mean, they have the offensive weapons to do, you know, to do good things. My concern is on the Tennessee side. You know, when they can dominate a game, we've talked about this before, when they're at home and they're dominating the game, it doesn't really matter who the opponent is. They run and they run and they run and they run, and it kind of brings the whole game to a grinding halt. When they're on the road and they're up against a good offensive team, like we saw in the Philadelphia game, they just can't match points. And it kind of steamrolls on them, and they're not that good a team in the first place. And so, to me, it's so much of a Tennessee game is determined by what happens in the first quarter, first maybe 20 minutes, because when they get ahead 10-0, then, not that many teams can come back against them because of the style of play they play. But if you're the team that jumps out on top of them, even if it's just like 10-7, kind of establish that, okay, look, we're moving the ball against Tennessee. We can do this all day long, and kind of get them into more of a higher scoring game. Then, they give up a lot of points, surprisingly, at times.
Right.
But I think that has more to do with how the game's going than necessarily who the opponent is. So it just makes them a hard team to try to guess what's going on.
Right.
But like I said, it seems that they are vulnerable to, they've given up a lot of big chunk plays this year, and Lawrence is the kind of quarterback, few quarterbacks in the league have an arm like Lawrence to get the ball downfield. Let's just hope that, Zay Jones is on the receiving end of a couple of them. And then, that could spiral that game over. So that's, I'm certainly rooting for that to happen. Even if I don't necessarily, if I can't necessarily project that to happen.
Okay, logistics for next week. We are on Sunday broadcasting live from a location. So we're going to have a special start time. That doesn't really have any bearing on you because we usually record you on Saturdays. But what I'm thinking about doing, because it'll be actually easier if I just maybe do a 1 hour show on Saturday, since we have 3 games on Saturday as well, it looks like. Would you be up for to go on live sometime in the 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time hour, go over to game Saturday, then we'll go through our usual suspects after that?
Whatever you need.
Okay, perfect. That'll be the plan. So we'll do a special Saturday edition with Dave Del Grande, and we'll discuss Saturday football and everything else across the board. Okay, Dave, a lot of fun. Good luck on your fantasy. Good luck on everything else you got going on, and we will talk to you this week coming up. All right?
Go Lions.
All right, we will be back right after this. Family-owned and operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shuckin' good time.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. You're behind the wheel. You may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter, the constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water,
I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
It is estimated that 23% of car accidents each year involve a cell phone. That's 1.3 million accidents a year. Reaching for your phone, you are 4 times more likely to crash. Dialing on your phone, 2.8 times more likely to crash. And texting on your phone, you are 23 times more likely to crash. Attentive drivers are safe drivers. Text the round robin your questions, comments, wagers. Give us a reason. Sleeper fantasy play, your best alternative line, whatever you have. Text the round robin 757-354-5517.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
Back live, 7:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Broadcasting from the beautiful coastline of Virginia Beach, Virginia. This is the round robin, investing the minimum to make the maximum. And Nephew Dave is now in the house with us. Nephew, what's up, man?
Good morning. Good morning. Don't forget, Steve, we're moving the lines like crazy people over here.
Del Grande said if you missed that he already got the call from DraftKings about his lock of DeAndre Swift over 19.5 rushing yards last week. Remember we talked about that?
We did, yeah.
How ridiculous low that was. So they shattered that number. And all you listeners, that's why you listen, is to make thousands of dollars, right? And we wouldn't be here otherwise. That's why we're here.
Right.
Looking to make some money today. Nephew Dave's going to come in on a little bit of, we're not going to call it a roll, but he cashed a ticket last night. So he's some smiles here.
On the board, so we're feeling good.
Everyone who bet the Minnesota Wild, happy about that last night, right?
Absolutely.
So let's do what we've been doing on every segment. And I think the whole band is back together today too, Dave, as the Ant-Man should be back in the house.
We haven't had that in a couple of weeks. That'll be refreshing.
Yeah. You never know where he's going to pop up. But for the Ant-Man to lose 3 weeks in a row, I just don't see that happening. He's more of a 500 team than a team that goes on a sustained losing streak. So every bit of his Green Bay Packerish attitude will be in here to help us go over things as well. And weather, if you're just tuning in as well, looking for weather games potentially in Buffalo, San Francisco, especially a real nasty storm there, and Pittsburgh, maybe. We'll have to get into that more as we go along. But nice weather, David, in a lot of these places. 61 degrees in Denver today and sunny skies. So no weather issues there for the Broncos and the Chiefs. Nashville is going to have a nice 55-degree day or whatever that's going to be. So maybe some points there with the Jaguars in town. And we'll have to see what we can find. I don't think we're going to go on our over fiasco run like we did last week super crazily, especially with the 4 o'clock games maybe being as sluggish as they potentially can be. We talked about that a little bit earlier. But maybe we can find 1 or 2 totals we can go ahead and hit home runs with today. So that's our point. We're looking to invest the minimum to make the maximum. Put down 20, 40 bucks today, 50 bucks, whatever you got in your pocket that you want to sacrifice towards week 14. And if things go right, maybe you can turn that into $500 or a couple grand, or maybe even $1 million if you like 10 things that we like and put them all together into one super jumbo parlay. We can cash that maybe for you today. So we'll do what we've been doing. We're going to go down our list. Elite defenses, official El Stinko teams, only 2 teams eliminated from the playoffs so far. That is the Texans and the Bears. Everyone else technically still alive, which is kind of insane to say. But we'll go down the list and we'll do a Survivor. Chances are, Dave, maybe you had the Raiders this week in Survivor pool if you're still alive and you're done for the week if you're coming off the loss at the Rams. Well, let's see if we can find 1 or 2 picks for you on this slate that maybe you can roll with. Most of these teams have to be taken. At least all the good ones are here with 13 picks in the books for Survivor. And then, I think it's pretty obvious who the stinky teams are at this point, which is, I don't know. There's a lot of mediocreness in that pudding. David,
yeah, absolutely there is.
Detroit and Minnesota, there's going to be no elite defenses or Survivor implications. I think I'll speak for David on that for sure. Buffalo, I don't think you have them. You've already used them in Survivor, and you're not going to take the Jets. Both defenses, though, Dave, top 10.
Yeah.
So where you think this would almost be a shootout on paper with Mike White and Josh Allen and stuff like that, I think it's Jets' 8th ranked defense and the Bills' 3rd ranked overall in defense. And with weather there, then definitely under 43.5 could be the play. And Dave, I'll give you 2 guesses who bet the over 3 days ago on this game.
I'm going to start off with you, obviously.
Yes. That's definitely, I'm the obvious candidate for that one. I think I played an alternate over of like 51.5 or something in this game. But you know what? Weather shouldn't affect Josh Allen, to be honest.
No.
Pittsburgh and the Ravens. You know what? If you haven't used Pittsburgh in Survivor, Dave, this is a chance.
Right.
I think so.
Also, when we get to this, Steve, I'll have to see if you agree with me. I was looking at the games, and I like the under here in this game. So that's something we can touch on, but I think I'm really feeling that under today.
Yeah, 36.5. So real low over-under. I got a weird spread I'm interested to get your take on. You're going to actually have inside knowledge, I think, on this one when we get to it here in a minute. Eagles and Giants. Philly has a pretty good D. I think they can actually shut the Giants down today. But there are going to be no Survivor picks available really for this game. I would say some people probably have used the Giants. There have been a circumstance or two where they've taken them maybe against Jacksonville, I think was a popular pick for some people when they won that game. But I don't think there's any kind of way you would take anything in this, even if you had either team in Survivor, which I don't think you definitely have the Eagles. Bengals and Browns. Some people may have the Bengals, but I don't know. That might be a good spot actually for them at home against Deshaun Watson just in his second game. But sneaky good defense maybe for sneaky is not the right word. I think everyone knows the Bengals can have a decent defense. What do I have them actually ranked here? Let me see. Let me go ahead and pull up.
Yeah, and if you have them, I think that has to be the play today.
No, yeah, Bengals 11th overall in defense.
You might have them because they started off pretty rough, and you were a little nervous to use them. And as the season has come along, they've gotten a lot better. So they would maybe be available, and if they are, I think that's probably really the only pick that you feel comfortable with today.
Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. Dave, high on the Bengals at home there. Tennessee and Jacksonville. Tennessee may be available for some teams. I don't know. Jacksonville can win this game to me. That's a low spread kind of when you think in terms of the Titans and where they've been against a Jacksonville team who's still trying to emerge from the depths of despair, to be honest. I don't think they're quite afloat yet, but trending up and in the right direction. But just an interesting line there overall. The Jags just 3.5-point dogs in Tennessee. And Jacksonville got smoked last week in Detroit. How about that?
Yeah.
You can't tell me Tennessee can't do the same thing. This is the game I was interested in your taking, to be honest. Everyone's used the Cowboys. They're not going to be available in Survivor. There's no way anyone's taking the Texans today in Survivor. Do you think there's one person in the planet who would actually do that? There's
always going to be
someone somewhere saying, I'm going to win this pool today by taking Houston.
Well, hey, and you look brilliant if you do it. I mean, let's be realistic about that.
I want to know this. Do the Cowboys cover the 17.5 point spread?
I think they could. I don't like those high numbers in the
no one
NFL
likes
for
it.
sure.
No one. I despise it. Never would I even lay it, except I'm thinking about it today.
Right. I wouldn't. I'm not going to lay it, but I am going to find something in this game. I think the Cowboys just stomp all over them. They could cover it. I just don't like those.
So Nico Collins and Brandon Crooks, whatever the fuck his name is, both out for the Texans. Now, does that matter?
I mean, not in the grand scheme.
Does that actually maybe make them better that the backup young guys may be playing? Maybe. That's what's scary. Okay, Kansas City and Denver. I guess everyone's used Kansas City. No one's going to use Denver. We talked about Denver defense, second ranked overall. Good defense there. Carolina and Seattle, tricky game. Del Grande likes Carolina to win this, actually, potentially in an upset. They're a scrappy team. I wouldn't want to use Seattle. I think that's taking I think I heard someone say it's taking you're taking your life in your own hands when you take Seattle
right
in a survivor pool. Tampa Bay and San Fran, no one's going to have them left for survivor. You may have the Chargers left, but are you going to take them against Miami? I doubt it. Neither defense is good there. The Niners, great defense. I think we all know that. That's no surprise to anyone. How about the Patriots? Would you take them on a survivor pick at
if you got them, yeah. I mean, Arizona's – I think New England is better than Arizona. Not that that would really be saying much playing Arizona because they're bad, but the Patriots defense is at least, decent. I think if you have them, so them and the who else did I
Cincinnati, yes.
If you have those two, those are your survivor picks today in my book.
All right, let's go ahead. Let me just refresh the lines one time, see if we have any movement. I'm just going to kind of scan and peruse. I don't think I've even had to update the ticker. Davis, weird. I feel like in past years, the lines are always bouncing all over the place. Maybe we're just on that early in the morning where we don't see it as much.
Right.
But generally for the season, we just haven't had much line movement through the mornings of the show. And so far, lines are the same. 1.5 for Detroit, 51.5 hosting the Vikings. Buffalo -10 over the Jets, 43.5. No movement there. Steelers -1.5, 36.5. No movement there. Philly -7, 44.5 at the Giants. No movement there. Bengals -5.5 over under 46.5. I feel like that over under is up a tick or two in the last day, but not this morning. Tennessee -3.5 and 40.5. Sneaky maybe overplay on that game for me, David, later when we get to it in our deep dive, which will come up on deck. Cowboys 17.5, 44.5. No movement there. I'll ask Anthony about the again. Brandon Crooks is going to get into the conversation. Whatever game we were watching, the Texans. I think they were playing the Dolphins 2 weeks ago. And you know how they give the little blurb up on the screen about the game plan for this team. Literally, the Texans have nothing to rely on. The game plan was one bullet point: get Brandon Cooks the ball. And the Ant-Man was dying in hysterics when he said that. He goes, "That's the game plan, to get him the ball." So that tells you where the Texans are. Even without him today, what is the game plan now, David? Kansas City -9.5, 43.5. No movement there. Seattle 4.5, 44.5. No movement there. 49ers 3.5, 37.5. No movement there. Dolphins -3.5 at the Chargers in SoFi, 53.5. No movement there. And no movement on Monday. Pats 1.5, 43.5. One of the teams on the bye are the Commanders. They have the tie with the Giants last week. Nephew Dave will go ahead and give you your before we go to break, we'll give you your 2-minute reflection time. The state of the franchise of the Commanders, since no one will get Commander football today anywhere in the world, but you'll get it right here, right now at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. David, go ahead and address the nation of your peeps.
Well, it's certainly on the upswing. You know, as you can see lately, they're playing with a lot of confidence. You know, we're stringing some wins together. They did have the tie, but I tell you, Steve, I hate a tie in any sport. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
You know what? I meant to ask Del Grande that about the 10-minute overtime. I mean, that's so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Played 15 minutes.
I mean, something. Just play a whole another quarter.
Play 10. Yeah, why are you going to play 10 minutes and then we're just done early?
And then it's a tie. Like you don't play a game. I
get it in hockey, I guess. They even now have the shootout though. Even the 5-minute overtime was kind of lame when they went to the tie. Then they decided to do the shootout, which is the right thing to do.
Right.
And even 3-on-3 hockey is a little bit weird to me, to be honest. But
I
it's
like
actually
it.
kind of fun. Yeah.
It's exciting to watch for sure.
Oh, it's wide open. You know, and these players just spread the ice out completely. Let me just do these long passes because you can't skate and catch up to this guy. And I can skate away from this other guy. It's with 4 less people on the ice.
Right. It's complete fire wagon hockey. That's why people like it. I myself, Steve, actually I'm not a big fan of the shootout.
Right.
We can get into that tomorrow night. Would probably be the appropriate setting.
Interesting.
For what the puck.
Yep.
So yeah, some good stuff to talk about there.
Oh yeah, Commander Nation, go ahead.
Tangent. But I tell you what, Steve, and it's funny to say, but that tie, it really feels more like a win than a loss, even though they're sitting on the 8th spot now. So we're definitely rooting for Carolina.
It's not a loss where a bunch of the other bad teams will have a loss.
Right.
So in comparison, it's still a half a leg up for sure.
Right. And so we get to do it again next week on Sunday Night Football. So that game, even bigger than the one before. And we saw what happened, and it's probably going to be quite a bit of the same. I wouldn't expect another tie. Somebody will win that game. But we are at home playing, with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, so I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing that they're just going to have to work on, which the defense is trending up for sure, but that run defense against Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley they're going to have a different game plan this time around to bottle them up because that's what did the damage. They're not throwing to anybody. Their passing game sucks. He's got nobody to throw to, but they can run the ball. Jones himself and Saquon, and they can draw up a lot of stuff to confuse you. So that's going to be the focal point, I think, for the Commanders. In that game, they're going to have a different game plan, and I think they will come. I wouldn't say more prepared because it was a 2020 game, but they're going to come with a little bit of a different scheme, I think, to try and block, make them throw the ball, You will win the game because he's got maybe 1 or 2 guys that are okay, but they're not going to air it out. That Washington defense won't let that happen. So I think that's the game plan. We need that one, and I believe I can't remember who is next. I'd have to look. And then you got Cleveland, and then you have Dallas.
So they flexed out the Patriots and Raiders game for your game, the Giants Commanders. Am I correct?
I believe so. So
good news for me post the Christmas party is I'm not going to have to wait until 8:15, Nephew Dave, where you are going to be maybe completely annihilated by the time your boys take the field Sunday.
I'm going to try and be responsible as much as I can there. We'll
control your alcohol.
Control your alcohol.
So, yes, we will be broadcasting live next week from CP Shuckers, our Christmas party. Everyone's invited. Food, drinks, the whole 9 yards. And speaking of 9 yards, Nephew Dave has brought us the biggest banner in the universe for the Deep End Broadcasting Network. This thing is a beast, and we're going to hang it up all over the front of CP Shuckers right there on Shore Drive. So we're going to be easy to find as you mosey on over and hang out with me, Nephew Dave, the Ant-Man, for our, bring your ugly sweaters. Do whatever, dress as you want. If you want to come in your church attire, by all means. This is a fun event Do I expect everyone to be there at 8:30 in the morning with our special start time? No, not at all. I completely expect all of you people to trickle in a little bit later in the morning at some point. But if you're up and you have nothing to do, David, you can definitely come get the morning started with us at our Christmas party, and we will have fun all day long.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good time, Steve. Absolutely looking forward to that.
If you don't know, and if you're just tuning in, and you don't know me, Stephen Murray, owner of the Deep End Broadcasting Network, I do not throw bad parties, okay? Know that for a fact. So that is what's going to go down next week, and we look forward to that. So, yeah, 8:30 special start time, CP Shuckers, Shore Drive, location 8:30 to 11:30 next week. Special round robin, 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Me and Nephew Dave, if I can grab him off the tree lot for a second, we'll do a 10-minute, 15-minute take on our picks, and we'll get Del Grande in here live as well, and we'll go over all the games for the slate on Saturday. So you'll be you'll get a piece of us for that action. And then Sunday, too, we'll get Del Grande's take for everything on Sunday at that point, and then he'll be a free man to drink his bourbon from the comfort of his lounge chair as he awaits 10 o'clock a.m. Western Pacific time standard kickoff. Okay, so we need to take a break, and then when we get back, we're going to track down the Ant-Man. How about this, Nephew David? How about this? It is right now 7:57 a.m., and this is week 14. We are on time. The show is on time.
How about that?
Now.
Well, don't jinx us now. You know.
Oh, I was going to say that. Do you want the ultimate jinx? I was getting ready to say that. So we are here and on time. So we'll take a commercial break. We're going to do some banging on the wall here, track down the Ant-Man, get him in here. We need to get his take. If form holds to when he is here, David, he'll show up when we get to game 2.
Right.
Or by game number 3, at least on the list. Text us anything you want, 757-354-5517. That's 757-354-5517. We've been getting comments every week. Where are they at this morning? Christmas party time, David. Everyone's kind of still recovering. But if you're laying around in bed and you want to put in your hot gambling take for the day, or, get put your 2 cents on your hottest pick, then we want to hear that for sure. So text us 757-354-5517, Twitter at DeepEnd757, and you can find us all over everything else. YouTube, Deep End Broadcasting, Deep End 757 Broadcasting. I got to remember that part. I've been telling everyone the other thing. Business cards maybe in the future as well, David.
We could definitely look into it.
If they can make us a 12-foot banner, which looks by all means of 20 feet long, then they can make us a little 2x1-inch index card, right? Is that
I would think so.
Card?
I'll look into that, Steve. I'll look into that same print, and we'll get.
Yeah. Let's see what's up. Let's see what's up with that. All right, let's go ahead and take a break, and we will be back right after this. We'll go down every game on the board, except for the 3 games that won't happen because teams are on bye weeks, which is, again, crazy to say that there are 6 teams on a bye here in week 14. Hopefully that's not messing with your fantasy implications too much, but I have a feeling a great amount of people are definitely affected by that. So get your lineup straight, people. December football, that means it's time to make some money. All right, this is our wheelhouse. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Family-owned and
operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shuckin' good time.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. If you're behind the wheel, you may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter, the constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
It is estimated that 23% of car accidents each year involve a cell phone. That's 1.3 million accidents a year. Reaching for your phone, you are 4 times more likely to crash. Dialing on your phone, 2.8 times more likely to crash. And texting on your phone, you are 23 times more likely to crash. Attentive drivers are safe drivers. Text the round robin your questions, comments, wagers, give us a reason, sleeper fantasy play, your best alternative line, whatever you have. Text the round robin 757-354-5517.
This is
It's like we're back in the studio. Los Angeles, 1997.
That's a good analogy.
Fred Gurwitz behind the controls. It's Fred.
I don't need to tell the truth, but I never lie. I don't need to bow to you. You're just passing by. I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I'll come back to you. Get inside my troubled mind with all of your threats. Sometimes I think I was blind. Not before we met. I never wanted to be the one that you depend on for your life. When you cry, it smells like soup. Sound like Shona knife. Never feel though I said all night. I got a right Each time I stay all night, no, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night. You're an evil little girl. I'm a twisted man, tearing through your perfect world. Make you understand, I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I'll come back to you and do the things you do. Stay all night, I gotta ride. Each time I stay all night, no, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all. I would never treat you bad. You deserve the best from me. If you want to keep your place, you better get down on yours.
Yeah, Todd wrote this one.
Yeah.
You think? This is not mine.
Stay all night, I gotta ride. Each time I stay all night, no, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night.
All right, welcome back. 8:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Pie Tasters live from our studio, David. We have rock bands live in our studio. What other morning football gambling podcast does that, right? So thank you guys for tuning in. It is that time now. We're going to go down every game on the board on the deep dive. The Ant-Man's up and at him. He knows I gave him the 5-minute warning. He gave the the salute from the runway. So he's gathering his things, and I'm guarantee you at any moment this phone will start ringing here in the background, and we'll plug in the Ant-Man right away. But see, this is an Ant game too. The first one on the list I have. He needs to call in right now. I mean, if there's anyone who loves Justin Jefferson's testicles more than himself and his girlfriend, it is definitely Anthony. And the Vikings, as 1.5-point underdogs, are in Detroit today. Weird point spread game, David. I've been hearing this all week. Oh, the Lions are the favorite over the Vikings. But justified maybe. Talked earlier a lot about Jared Goff with Del Grande, and he's just a nice quarterback. And you know what? Maybe probably better than Kirk Cousins. I don't know. That's a good question. Who is the better quarterback in this game, David? Let me just start with you.
That's pretty interesting take there, Steve, because here's my thought on that. You know, Kirk Cousins, we know what he is in prime time, and it's terrible. It's awful. Nobody would want him. But when he's not, when the spotlight is not on him, he is lighting it up. So that's a tough call. Goff is good. I think I'd have to agree with you there. But, man, I don't know. I don't know, Steve. That is one that I would have to ponder a little bit.
I've seen Goff make a lot less stupid mistakes over the
and that's
Kirk Cousins has made.
Right.
I could say that for sure. Now the confidence may never have been there in Goff by some people, which I don't know. He played in the Super Bowl still as a quarterback, which I mean that says something, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe not Trent Dilfer won with the Ravens, and that was kind of a how the hell did that happen scenario, but that defense was so good on that team.
Yeah.
But interesting game. The Lions are the favorite, 1.5, 51.5. Del Grande loves fireworks. Everything's a green light as far as fantasy numbers go in this. I mean, I guess I got to take the alternate over and just hope these teams get the 60 points. to be honest. That both teams just score in the 30s. If we're going to go alternate over in this game, you know me, I like my alternate overs. So why not take a chance on these guys, I guess. But to get to 65 points is plus 370. Man, that's a lot of points for just plus 370. But do you trust the process and just say, screw it, go for it? To get over under 68.5 points. So we're talking 38-35, something like that, right, Dave? 38.
Yeah, it would have to be, yeah.
38-31. 38-31 wins you that bet. 6-1 odds. So is that worth taking a shot on? Well, I guess if this is going to be the shootout of 1 o'clock, then yeah, I guess that's what you got to do. 2 touchdown scores today. There's probably a bunch of those that could actually
no doubt
happen. So let's look at some of those odds. Dalvin Cook is plus 400. Justin Jefferson is plus 450. Amon-Ra St. Brown plus 500. Jamal Williams plus 500. DeAndre Swift plus 500. Adam Thielen 10-1 odds. Thielen hadn't had a 2-touchdown game in a while. Detroit could be the perfect remedy for that to actually happen. Hawkinson 10-1 odds. DJ Shark 16-1 odds. Let's see. Here is Del Grande's guy, Jameson Williams, 26-1 odds. That's his sleeper pick for 1 touchdown anyway. So Jameson Williams is 26-1 odds. He's the Alabama wide receiver who they drafted who hurt. So he just is now playing from being drafted last year.
Right.
So this guy's just finding his way onto the field. We'll have to get the Ant-Man's take on that, see if he has any further insight into that kind of thing. I don't know, Dave. I guess I'm looking at an alternate total here. If I'm going to have to play some games today, and I'm going to have to, at minimum, this game makes a dancing partner. I'm not thoroughly convinced, but we'll put it in the dancing partner category for sure. I need to add another play. Well, here it is. Let's just hope for a ton of points. And Minnesota and Detroit in a conducive environment that actually should provide that total of mask points through the roof, as they say, exploded like crazy. Okay, your thoughts on this?
So, Steve, I'm looking at it, and I would have to agree. I would expect quite a bit of points in this one. I'll tell you, I like Minnesota over Detroit, even though Detroit's at home. And they are a super feisty team, so not dogging on them. Maybe it's not quite a blowout, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I like I didn't like it. I looked at the weekly special for this game, didn't like it very much, so I moved on. Steve, I'm going to take away from this game. I'm going to do a game parlay on it.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings on the money line with the over 51.5, and I'm going to get plus 290 out of it.
So I feel like most of the support for taking a side this week has been on actually Detroit, from what I've heard. Something tells me it is a Minnesota day, to be honest. In my stupid bet that I took earlier in the week with the Buffalo Jets over before I realized it's going to be 10 feet of snow on the ground today, I actually do have the Vikings as an alternate play, laying 13.5. Now, look, people, this is just a $10 parlay, but it pays ridiculous. But yes, I did lay 2 touchdowns with the Vikings. I'm not going to say that's going to happen. I'd rather maybe see a ton of points in this and just make it fantasy fun, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. I like your play, David. That could definitely happen at almost 3-1 odds. Vikings and 51.5.
At 51.5, yep.
All right, so that's that. All right, let's move on. We'll have to rewind here with Anthony. I'm going to talk about
definitely some props in that game, though, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and let's do that, actually. If we're going to look at, good call, because this is the stuff we need to be looking at. Yeah, it's just not paying what I thought. So Jared Goff over 300 yards is only plus 172. Goff at plus 290 to get 325 plus yards. But they run the ball so well. Detroit. So is Goff really going to get that many passing yards? Even Kirk Cousins on his passing props not paying super great. Let's see what we have for a Thielen maybe.
Steve, I have a interesting parlay here that I'm looking at that I want to see what you think about real quick.
Thielen pays good if you want all receiving yards for him. But go ahead.
The Baltimore Ravens plus 3.5, the Minnesota Vikings plus 3.5, and the Jets plus 8.5. 3-team parlay there. I just happened to see it, so we can go over that more. But for a 3-team parlay at plus 445, I don't know. What do you think about that?
So you're getting extra points in all those games. So that's Minnesota. Who else?
The Ravens and the Jets.
I don't like the Ravens or the Jets today, to be honest. Yeah, I wouldn't put my money on either one of those I've been a bat. We'll get into that game in a minute.
Yeah.
I've been a Pittsburgh backer, and where they're not covering my all lines, they're definitely covering the point spreads.
Right.
If you listen to what I like, people out there, if you really want to make money, you listen to my alt lines and just bet the regular line, because that has been happening left and right, which is kind of weird to say that you actually lose bets that you should win, right? Next game, though, Bills and the Jets. Ant-Man's missing. Bang on the wall, David. Bills minus 10. 43.5 in Buffalo. I think we have snow. Let's get a quick update on that, actually. I will look up the weather, Dave.
All righty.
Bills, Jets. You take this first. Bills minus 10, 43.5.
That's quite the spread there. I mean, it is a divisional game, so I would expect it to be a little closer. I mean, I don't have full trust in the Buffalo Bills. I mean, we all know what they are, who they are, and they are a good team, but they have slipped a couple times, and for a team of that caliber, it makes me worry just a little bit. So I don't know if I would do anything with the spread. If you like the Jets on the upset, though, you get plus 370 out of the money line. So if you're a Jets backer, I think that's definitely a play. You're getting pretty good value on that. Obviously, they're a pretty big underdog. So that's one way you could go about it if you're a Jets backer. If not, I'm looking here, and I'm automatically going to go to the touchdown scoring props. And I like Gabriel Davis. He's plus 140 for one. So if you like to play one, not bad for that, which something, nothing is a for sure, but you would think he's going to get into the end zone. He's definitely going to get his touches. So let's see what he is for two of them. I would imagine it's probably around 300 or so. Looking this, here we go.
It looks like
plus 900, 2 Gabe Davis touchdowns.
Weather, right now it's looking like 50-50.
50-50.
It's definitely not snow, more of a rainy scenario.
Okay.
If we and winds aren't too super crazy either, apparently. Okay, so maybe a little bit better weather than we're anticipating up there in Buffalo. So continued eye on that. I think, you know what, my instinct is, I told you I wasn't going to go on this over tangent,
right?
But here we go. My just original gut instinct is that 43.5 just seems like a low number for these two football teams, and they can get over this total. I mean, that's just it. And to get into the low 50s, I don't think it's really asking too much. Now, if you bet the Buffalo over this year, you're losing your rear end off, to be honest. That's not the play to be having, but both of these quarterbacks are capable of putting points up. It just is that simple. 52.5 over under is at plus 300. So plus 300 just to get to 53 points for the Bills and the Jets. Man, I think I could get on board with that all day.
Right.
So I could see an alternate over for sure. This is going to go now. I mean, here's the question. Lesson time, people. When we're talking about trying to win here, you look at the entire scope of everything on the board, and you literally try to find the best picks. And things that will apply to that are things that kind of make sense. Now, are you going to try to get 3-1 odds with Minnesota and Detroit to get in the low 60s? Or maybe you can get that same 3-1 and you just need the Bills and the Jets to get into the low 50s. I mean, you got a 10-point difference there. So maybe the smarter play is not trying to achieve the super amount of points in Minnesota and Detroit, and you settle for something like this, to be honest. Just something to think about, David, as people evaluate.
Right. And I did find another play that I'm actually going to take on this, Steve. I have each team to score 1 touchdown in each half at plus 250. And that's going to have a dancing partner with it.
So it's plus 250 for both of those teams to have a touchdown in each half.
Right.
I think that's very doable, actually, for sure. Yes. I would say that's a good bet. I liked one with the field goals, but, man, that's a lot harder than it sounds.
It really is.
Watching, I'm like, man, these teams don't have a touchdown in the first half.
But I have one of those built. I believe I sent it to you, Steve. But I do have another one of those built for today. It's a 4-team. And by golly, if it hits Steve, we're going Turks and Caicos.
Nice. So, okay, yeah, send that to me. In fact, post that on the Twitter, David. That'll be a good tease for the Twitter. Your multi-touchdown parlay there with touchdowns and halves. Is that one with field goals or without?
It's with field goals.
Okay, with the field goals. Okay. It's a fun bet, yes, when you see the amount of money they pay off. So go to the Twitter, and you can read all about that when Nephew Dave puts that up here a little bit. But I think it's like you said, game on with all the props.
Right.
And alternate over. I mean, the Patriots and me want to see the Jets win this game. I don't know who I want to see to win this game. The Jets are ahead of the Pats in the playoff race, to be honest. So you almost kind of want Buffalo at this point.
Right.
Surrender the division, which wasn't going to be achievable at this point, I guess, anyway. And if Buffalo can help out the Patriots in a wild card scenario, then I guess Pat fans will have to root for the Bills today in a kind of a weird turn of events. You've had to root for teams in your division.
Oh, yeah, and it hurts.
That's a weird feeling.
It hurts.
Okay, so let's get through that. Ravens and Steelers. This is the game you like. You're giving the Ravens a chance here, Dave. -1.5 for the Steelers. 36.5. No Lamar Jackson. Huntley is the quarterback for.
Oh, I'm glad you told me that. I did not know that, so I'll have to change my mind on that game.
Oh, yes. No Lamar Jackson. He's out.
But it wasn't this game, Steve. I remember the game. I really like the under once we get there in the the Eagles Giants game.
Next on the board.
Yeah, so when we get there, we'll talk about that. But that was my underplay.
Yeah, okay. As far as the divisional aspect of things, yes, gotcha. Steelers and Ravens. Here we go again. George Pickens, 2 touchdowns. Can he cash for us? Finally. The Ravens secondary is not anything to write home about. Pickens, there we go. Our numbers back up there. 26-1 odds for 2 Pickens touchdowns today. I'm on board with that one. J.K. Dobbins is going to find his way back into the lineup as well. We haven't seen him since the beginning of the season. So here comes J.K. Dobbins after a long injury recovery. So we'll see how much playing time he gets. 26-1 odds for Dobbins to get 2 touchdowns today for the Ravens. But what kind of load is he going to take too?
Right.
So question there. 36.5. You like the under?
I could see it. But I like this passing touchdown prop of Kenny Pickett for 2 of them at plus 145.
Kenny Pickett. Okay, I like that. Pickett has been very nice as far as the payouts go on the props. And he is again this week too. For 275 yards for Kenny Pickett is plus 470. So that's a nice juicy price if you think Pickett can. He got that last week in Atlanta. I think he fell. I I'd have to look up the game log. I'm not going to bore you by me looking up the game log from last week. But he was close. He was definitely in. If he didn't get it, it didn't matter because I guess the dancing partner didn't win. But for me, so I didn't look too much into it. But Pickett was right there the whole time. I think a quiet second half by the Steelers led him not to get it. He was on fire in the first half. And then once I think Tomlin realized, let's keep the ball on the ground a little bit more. The Falcons aren't going to score anyway.
Right.
They just did enough to kind of get by on the road there. But Pickett is paying well for his overpassing props today. Tyler Huntley is plus 430 for over 250 yards, if you like that. As far as rushing goes, do they have numbers on Dobbins? They do not. The only rushing props we got right now are for Pickett, Huntley. Najee Harris over under 51.5 rushing yards. I could actually get on board with that too, Dave. But weather here, I don't know. Give me one more take. Let me get an updated look on the weather in Pittsburgh. I think we'll be in the clear.
All right.
But go ahead.
I'm going to look at you got the Ravens, the team totals. They're under 17.5 is at minus 115. So not crazy value there. Looking like the book is thinking.
Maybe not the best value, but I think that's actually a good under 17.5 for the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I see them getting no more than 17.
Yeah, I might be inclined to look at that. So we'll see what happens there. If you want to try and get a little risky with it, we have the Baltimore Ravens team total touchdowns at under 1.5 at plus 120. So even at a plus 120, we're thinking, man, maybe they won't get 2 touchdowns. We'll see what happens there. I would think that they would, but I don't know. The Steelers defense is kind of trending upwards. So we'll see what happens with that. But I would be really inclined, Steve, to look at that Ravens team total just to throw it in with something, you know.
And it looks like we are in the clear for weather in Pittsburgh for the most part. Any kind of rain will be cleared out. 40 degrees, which is going to be no big deal for those teams to play football in. And the winds, nothing crazy, right around 8 to 10 miles per hour forecasted for the Steelers and the Ravens in Acrisure Stadium. I'm going to go with my Pickens prop. I'll take him for 2. Do I want the Steelers on an alt line maybe here? Yeah, I think they could win by a couple scores. So why not? They've been covering for me, but they have not been alt line covering. Maybe this is the time against Huntley and company for the Ravens. Man, this is just that old school grudge match where it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It's going to be a tough physical game. But, hey, the Steelers aren't out of it for playoff aspirations, really. I mean, and the Ravens fighting for first place. I mean, there's a lot at stake, actually, in this football game. But Pittsburgh to win by 13 points is plus 340. Maybe sign me up for that. The kicker is now back too. Boswell, he'll be back. So if you don't mind laying 13.5, because you can get that full touchdown, 2 touchdowns, no missed extra point, plus 390 on Pittsburgh there. But they do kick field goals. So lay 12.5. Don't lay 13.5.
Right.
If you're new to the show, yes, account for a missed extra point. If you're moving lines, move it by 1 of what you think. You know, if you think it's 13.5, make it 12.5, literally. All right, you'll thank me later when that happens. You have no idea how many times that came into play when I started moving alt lines. I'm like, wait a minute, I could be just a hair smarter, but we're on the right track. So Steelers can win by multiple scores and Pickens for 2 touchdowns.
Right.
I just don't know if the Ravens can score. I haven't been a Ravens player all year. I have plenty of Baltimore friends who do, I think, listen from time to time, and I just don't hope they're listening when I'm disgracing their Ravens, which I've done on a few occasions here this season. But no comments, so all good, I think, in that regard. Okay, what do we got next? 8:30 already. Getting down the list.
Flying by.
How many more 1 o'clock games do we got here? All right, still got a few 1 o'clock games. We'll punch out 2 more and we'll take a break. And is that our last break?
Yes,
I think it's our last break. Then we'll have the close. Okay, cool. All right. So next game on the list is yes, your game, David. Very important. Eagles -7 at the Giants, MetLife Stadium, over under 44.5. You really love the under. You love it so much. We were talking about the Jets game. You're like, let's take the Eagles under. I'm like, okay, all right. So go ahead. Tell us why this is a low-scoring game today.
Well, we see the Giants, they did get to 20 last week, but I just feel like they have a hard time, scoring a lot of points, and especially at home. I don't think they're a great home team. And we have Philly over there. We know who they are. I think they're going to come in and basically just kind of shut the Giants down, stop the run, make them throw. Like I said earlier, that's their weak point. And I think Philly will do that. And I could see 24-7, something like that. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I see here I am, Steve. I'm in that position where I'm basically having to root for the Eagles, because if they win, that opens the door for us. So there's that situation. I'm backing the Eagles today. That really sucks to say. Wish I wasn't, but I am. So go Eagles today. And like I said, I just don't think the Giants are a great home team.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking about this. Yeah, and here it is. This is your scenario today. You have to root for them.
So we'll see. Let's see what we can find, Steve. But as far as this game, I feel like it's an under. I think the Eagles defense will get the job done today.
All right. Definitely a lot of ground and pound potential in this game for sure. I could definitely see that. So once in a while, David, you just have to take a pass on things. And this game has pass written all over it for me. As a NFC East connoisseur myself, growing up on the product that we've been given since childhood, growing up in these parts. Yeah, so if you grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, you've watched Redskins your whole life in every Redskins game without I think one point they took you guys off for a Cowboys game when y'all were really bad, like 5 or 6 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, well,
they actually took you guys off local TV.
3-13.
That was the only time that has ever happened in my lifetime here. So yes, growing up here and a father who is also a Giants fan and a New Yorker, we are half Boston, half New York roots in the Murray bloodlines here. So know that, that's where my craziness comes from, is the I'm half Boston, half New York, and I was born in Newport News, Virginia, David. So
well, there you go.
That is a recipe for complete craziness for sure. And that's why we move the lines like crazy people here on the Round Robin. On the deep end.
It makes sense now. It all makes sense.
Now it all makes sense, right? Okay, yeah. As a dad who is a New Yorker, we had lots of NFC East all my whole lifetime. But yeah, there you go. No opinion. I watched it my whole life. I don't want anything to do with this game, is basically the moral to the story.
Understood.
Anything on the touchdown props I could get down with. Let me see. I mean, I just don't even want it. I think I had the one time, Jalen Hurts, I think I had for 2 touchdowns. I think one time this year. And of course he's got it every game except for that one. At 5-1 odds, no thank you. I won't even take that. So yeah, David, nothing for me on this.
All right.
Giants, Eagles, I pass. But your official play one more time.
Under 44.
How far did you move that down?
I moved it one spot off, I believe, where it is now. So it's at plus 102 for under 44, just in case things get a little bit sideways on me. I'm trying to leave just a little bit of room for air.
Okay.
So I didn't move it crazy under, which I think, it could be, but like I said, I didn't want to get crazy with it because it is a divisional game. So you never know what's going to happen, even though you have a feeling that you know.
I'm going to take I want nothing to do with this game, except for, David, maybe I'll take a small, crazy chance on under 31.5 points at plus 560. How about that?
There you go. It's something.
That would be worth a $5 3-game parlay at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yes, people, that's the show. We haven't talked about that in a while, David. So if you're going to spend $20 on a lottery ticket, don't do that. Your $20 can only win you 500 times, maybe, $500 maybe once or twice here over the span of a few years. Most of the time you lose that $20. No, put it on, $5 3-game parlay with a under 31.5 in the Eagles game at plus 560. And if you find two other crazy things like the Steelers minus 13.5 at plus 300, and then something else at plus 200, now that $5 is paying, I don't know, maybe 1,000 probably at that point.
Probably at that point.
That much, maybe not that much. But you get my drift here. You can control this and, bet things that can actually happen to win money, or go flush it away at the 7-Eleven down the street. That's your pick. We try to be smart here if we're going to do it. So it's sports. Okay. Browns and Bengals. I asked Bill Grande if this is going to be an over game. He didn't think so. 46.5 points. I think that's too many for me to say let's go over. I feel dirty betting on anything on behalf of the Browns at this point with Watson as the quarterback, to be honest. I just get that scuzzy feeling about myself if I were to do that. The Bengals, let's see here. I like Joe Burrow. That kid's got some sass. Absolutely. He is actually a good quarterback. He's fun to watch. He's good for the league. The Bengals are good for the league with the product that they put out. They are a good football team in my book. Maybe actually the best in the AFC. Del Grande wasn't ready to go that far. I'm not either. Yeah, let me ask you that, David. Who is the best team in the AFC? You have three candidates. Kansas City, who has lost now to the Bengals 3 times in a row. You have the Bengals, who are trending way up. And you have the Bills, of course, we'll throw in that category as well. Who's the best team of those three to you?
I think it's the Bills.
I think that's the popular belief too. But man,
Cincy not far behind them. I'm not saying. I mean, there's a definite conversation that could be had here with that.
I'll tell you what Cincinnati doesn't do is shoot themselves in the foot like the Bills do.
Right, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the Bills have a bad habit of shooting themselves in the foot. We've talked about that.
We have.
I mean, a decent part of the season, to be honest. We've been wary of Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, if you've been tuning in, we have not. I called Buffalo the bookie slaughter machine potentially.
Right.
And after week 1, when they demolished Tennessee, I was like, man, they can actually be this. And then I was like, you know what? I don't know. I'm not seeing something I like here. I don't know is the fact that Dayball's now the coach at the Giants and he's gone. Yeah, Ken Dorsey is the offensive coordinator. Maybe that's it. Maybe Josh Allen isn't as good as we think. Because he does throw the ball into the back of players' helmets. The ball bounces up in the air. Kirk Cousins-ish, right? Interception.
Right.
And then, he's kind of doing the old look around. He's a likable guy for sure. He runs hard. He's fun to watch in that aspect. And he does throw a nice ball, man. But what is it that just doesn't connect at the very end for Buffalo? Watching the playoffs, something's bound to happen where, something weird. He fumbles running into the end zone or something like that.
Yeah, something just silly.
Watch that happen now. I just mark that down, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, December 11th, 2022. Marking the tape right now. When the Bills lose in the playoffs, it'll be because Josh Allen's running the ball into the end zone and is stripped, and the ball rolls out of bounds harmlessly for the touchback. And we're going to have to live with that debate forever about how the team should get the ball back. Actually, let me ask you that. Here we go. You've heard that. People are like, we fumble through the back of the end zone. That's a terrible rule. They need to change that. How is that a bad rule? You're turning the ball over and you're giving it to the other team because you can't fumble the ball through the end zone and maintain it. I just don't think that you can.
Right.
What do you think about that rule? I mean,
no, I would have to agree with you. It's one thing, I think, if it, rolls off the sideline or whatever. But yeah, if you fumble it in the end zone and it rolls out of bounds, I mean, you
should lose the ball.
You should lose possession.
And when we talked about me growing up watching NFC East football and stuff like that, I can remember plenty of occasions where that's happened too.
Right.
You know.
So I'd have to agree with you.
I'm sure many times I've bet on it where that's not been what I like to see.
You know, it's.
I'm sure there's been one or two of those cases before. Let's see. So Bengals and Browns, I don't know about this game. Burrow is good, -5.5. Eek. Maybe another pass game for me. But if I'm going to do anything, we'll look at some touchdown props. I always like me some Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So maybe I take him at +550 for 2 touchdowns. You could sign me up for that, I think. All right. So what do you think, David?
Yeah, I would think I'm looking. I'm gonna try and look at a scoring special to squeeze something out of this game. Let's see here. I think this is one that I had in that touchdown and field goal. I'd have to look for that. But if you kind of want to take a chance on that, it's at +1600. So not bad there. Each team for 1 touchdown in each half is +160. I could probably see that. So maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know, Steve. It's you kind of have to look around in this game. I think most of anything you would want to do would probably be with the Bengals.
This is going to be a lighter card for me than usual, I think, just from the buys. The buys are throwing me off completely. The fact that 6 teams are off this week. That's warning flag number 1 that our menu is limited to what we can choose from here, right? So Jamar Chase, though, I think in my player prop, I think I'm on that all day. I'm going to take a shot on him, +550. We'll make that official. We like Jamar Chase, so he's a fun player to watch. He can definitely get 2 touchdowns from our man, Joe Burrow. Sorry, Bengal fans. I won't call him our man. I know how you all get offended out there. Start, calling us bandwagoners and stuff like that. Okay. We're nothing to do with that.
Ooh.
All right. One more game, we'll go to break. Guess we'll have to go to commercial after talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, so we're talking about a team trying to build themselves the relevance here. We talked about that a little bit already. But the Titans, this is a weird spread to me. How are the Titans just -3.5 at home against Jacksonville? As long as Trevor Lawrence is a go, which I haven't seen anything that tells me that he's not, let me go ahead and make sure he's listed on the passing props just to be sure. Actually, he's not. So he's still questionable. Where's the Ant-Man? This is when we need the Ant-Man. Where's Trevor Lawrence? He'll walk through the door right now. That's it's weird how that actually happens.
Right.
So we need to figure out if Trevor Lawrence is in. I'll try to look that up over break. But if he is in, I think this is game on for the props as far as maybe an over goes. David, your thoughts, Jacksonville, and what should be a nice postcard afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee, as temperatures will not be an issue. Your thoughts?
Steve, I'm looking at Derrick Henry for 2 of them. I don't think the value is quite there for that, but it's at +260.
Wow, yeah, I just see +270. Always shop around. But yeah, that's a low number for 2 touchdowns, isn't it? That's giving a lot of faith in Henry to get 2 scores
right
today.
Well, I mean, what you very well could. I mean, it's certainly not out of the realm of the possibility, but I think we would like that to be a little bit higher for sure.
Travis Etienne is +700. Christian Kirk +1400. Robert Woods +1800. These are all for 2 touchdowns. I might take a shot on this guy again for Tennessee. Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Okay, there you go.
He's always had that one weird name. I know when we had Tennessee passing props here the last few years, is that our guy? No, it's Westbrook-Akine. Where the hell did this guy come from? So maybe, you know what? If you can't beat them sometimes, Dave, join them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So maybe we take Westbrook Akine in a 2-player parlay. The George Pickens. You know what? Let's go ahead and load that up for fun. We're going to break, so we can do an extra second here. If we do 2 touchdown scores today, and we pick Westbrook Akine, Nick Westbrook Akine for 2 touchdowns. We go to the Steelers game. We pick our man George Pickens plus 2,600 for 2 touchdowns. And we go to Cincinnati, where your boy Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, will throw 2 touchdowns to Jamar Chase at plus 550. Now, you could take that $20 lottery ticket money and take that thing and flush it down the 7-Eleven toilet if you like. Or you can put it on this 3-game parlay of 2 touchdown scores. That can happen for sure. Westbrook Akine, Pickens, and Jamar Chase. $20, David. What do you think this parlay pays off?
Oh, 1,200.
Oh, I love this guessing game. Higher, much higher. Keep going.
46.
4,600. No, keep going.
Wow, 13.
We haven't done the news flash in a while.
No, yeah. Well, I haven't had a good weekly special yet. It's killing me.
News flash. There's been no news flash. Higher, David.
21.
21,000. Higher.
32.
Higher.
45.
Higher.
76.
Higher. This is the Price is Right.
Okay.
Keep going.
230.
No, you're 76. $91,000.
Okay.
$91,000 you can win today, people. If you put $20 on 2 touchdowns for George Pickens, Nick Westbrook Akine, and Jamar Chase. That's why we do this show. I'll leave those guys aside because we're going to add another player to this madness, to be honest. Let me back off the Bengals Browns because that's what I have Chase on. Back onto this game here, Tennessee and Jacksonville. Yeah, I mean, I just could see points. And over 40.5, David, as long as Jacksonville's boy, Trevor Lawrence is in there, then these teams can actually climb towards 50, I think. Tennessee, who doesn't score a lot of points by nature. Jacksonville's just the right solution for that to actually happen. Jags decent defense, but you got to have some faith in a veteran in Tannehill and Derrick Henry and company at home against the Jaguars.
Right.
Let's be honest, on a nice day, plus 255 to get over 49.5 points.
Okay.
So in my weird over, that's the thing. I don't have any I have a bunch of dancing partners, so I guess they're just going to have to dance together, David. It's like you're at
doing the dance
Christmas party dance. All right, here's this person. Here's this person. You got dance. All right. Yep, there you go. That's how you do it.
It's the dance.
Who's next? Who's next over here? All right. So that's the way we're looking around the room to find our plays today, and we'll do that with the over in the Tennessee and the Jaguars at some point. All right. Any other opinions by you?
No, I don't think so. No, I am gonna take a stab at that low Henry number.
Okay, yeah. A lot of times the ones that don't make sense, like, man, it's too low. That's what happened. You take that, yes.
Right.
I can't advise not betting against Derrick Henry. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take our last break. We were on time, David, but of course, here we go. We babble and ramble as we try to find.
It's what we do, Steve.
Hey, man, it's the minimum investment for the maximum. And this takes time, people. We don't make you a millionaire at the snap of a finger. At the snap of a finger, all right? We do it by dissecting this stuff and being thorough.
It's what we do.
This is the round robin. We will be back right after this.
Girl, take it
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
It is estimated that 23% of car accidents each year involve a cell phone. That's 1.3 million accidents a year. Reaching for your phone, you are 4 times more likely to crash. Dialing on your phone, 2.8 times more likely to crash. And texting on your phone, you are 23 times more likely to crash. Attentive drivers are safe drivers.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Text the round robin your questions, comments, wagers. Give us a reason. Sleeper fantasy play, your best alternative line, whatever you have. Text the round robin 757-354-5517. Family owned and operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shuckin' good time. Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter? The constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. You're behind the wheel. You may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Ring in the holidays with the round robin, a very special week 15 broadcast live from our Deep End Christmas party on Sunday morning, December the 18th from 8:30 until 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at CP Shucker's Shore Drive location in Virginia Beach, Virginia, USA. Breakfast, refreshments, specials, and more. Join us for the live show on Sunday morning, December the 18th from 8:30 until 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great holiday season.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
As I pack my bags to leave, I thought she would start to cry, sit around my room and weep. But you're the girl, she fooled me this time. She acted like I was the last thing on her mind. I would like to start all over again.
Dave, this is going to be a question for you.
All right.
Bon Scott wants to know Jalen Hurts rushing yards over 75 for plus 265 or over 100 for plus 600.
Ooh. Good question. Good value there.
Put a number on put an exact number. You dissect this NFC East tilt, David, and tell me exactly how many yards Jalen Hurts is going to have on the ground today.
I would feel better myself if that number was probably somewhere around 64.
Okay.
So I would probably take,
and that's probably what his legit number is. It's probably close to that.
Right.
Let me see here. I can follow up on this more. Go ahead.
So that's where I would like that. So I would probably take the 75 as opposed to the 100. I don't think.
Oh, just 50 and a half yards is straight over.
Really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would like that to be pushed to 64 for some value. So I don't think I would play the 100. I would definitely take a stab at the 75, though, for that value.
Yeah, so you would do – all right, so this is your number here, plus 148 for 60 yards or over.
Yep, that's what I would do. So, yeah, definitely – I would stay away from the 100 though. I don't think it goes quite that high today.
And Bond, hey, check your books because I see 90 plus yards at plus 640. How about that? If you want to go super high, 10 less yards, bigger payout.
Right.
How do you ever argue that? You always got to shop around, David. Right?
That's correct.
All right. Any other questions? You send them to us, people. 757-354-5517 via the text message. Okay. Cowboys, Texans. That's our next game. I think this is our last 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff. Yes, that would be the case. Cowboys minus 17.5, over under a 44.5. If I'm click on the anytime touchdown scores, I'm going to recognize one person, and that's going to be Dameon Pierce. Besides that, everyone else is a Dallas player down that list. I mean, you're looking at players like Philip Dorsett today out there for the Texans. I'm assuming he plays for the Texans. Man, there are some obscure passer names for sure. In fact, even on the receiving props, everyone is a Cowboy. There's a Chris Moore over 34.5. receiving yards. I'm assuming he plays for the Texans. I don't know him as a Cowboy, so I'm assuming he's the only Texan there on the board, which is crazy. Yeah, how is Houston going to score today? Are they going to be able to give this thing to Dameon Pierce? How does this number actually stay within 17.5 is my question. I'm not sure Houston can move the ball at all today.
Right. I tell you, it's really tempting to go on a alt spread here for sure. But being that it started at 17, it's just, I don't know, Steve. It's probably gonna happen, and I'm probably gonna talk myself right out of it. I feel much better with those numbers in a college game. The NFL games, worry me a little bit with spreads that large. But like I said, I mean, we're expecting that to happen, aren't we?
Cowboys minus 30.5 points is plus 400. Cowboys minus 34.5 points is plus 680. I mean, I don't know. This is a look-ahead spot, too, I think, potentially for Dallas. I forget who they play. I think they play Philadelphia. Do they play Philadelphia next week? Maybe it's not next week. They play them on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Anyway, but the Dallas Cowboys have some sort of a look-ahead scenario next week. I can't remember exactly who they play. Nor am I going to bore you as I look it up. But Cowboys at minus 17.5. I don't know, man. I've always, have I been mean to the Texans? No. I've been anything but nice to the Texans. Eek. Good luck today, Big D. This could be a complete dismantle job if this team is focused. I actually think that the injury to Garoppolo was huge in the sense that this is something that the Cowboys can benefit on down the road. There's always the Eagles, too, we're going to have to talk about, and whoever else makes it into this crazy playoff scenario for sure. It's going to be an interesting road in the NFC, to say the least. But Dallas, man, I think they could actually win the Super Bowl this year.
And they have the Jaguars next week.
Could you see Dallas? Oh, Jaguar. Okay, that's not really a look ahead.
No.
Could you see Dallas winning the Super Bowl?
Absolutely not, Steve. What kind of question is that? There ain't no way.
David, what will you do if they do win a Super Bowl? Like, is that a very depressing moment for a Washington fan to watch Dallas hoist?
Well, I wouldn't say it's depressing. It's more.
I mean, you haven't seen it in a while, that's for sure.
It's more of a disgusting type feeling, I guess I would say.
I'm sure they say the same about you guys.
You know they do.
Again, somehow we're getting back to my childhood growing up, but the Cowboys and the Redskins, that was the rivalry, man.
Absolutely.
Of all sports, I mean, it wasn't Yankees, Red Sox. It wasn't Carolina, Duke. It was Cowboys, Redskins at one point for sure. I think the owners have on both sides,
right,
have tarnished that great rivalry where it's just not what it was, especially after the name change and all that stuff.
Right. But I tell you what, Steve, I do, as much as I say all that stuff, they do look like, a team that will definitely have a chance to contend for the NFC title to go to the Super Bowl. They've got to go through Philly first, though, if it gets that far. And, there's going to be some other teams, like the Vikings, that are going to want to have a say in that.
Yep.
But do they have the potential for it? Okay, yes, I will agree with you. I think yes, but that road is not going to be easy for them.
And I'll say this, too. If it does come down the road and their playoff run ends, it'll be because Dak Prescott's running it into the end zone and fumbles the ball through the back of the end zone. So mark that down on this tape. Could you imagine that parlay if that hit? The Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, double fumble to lose the playoff game parlay into the back of the end zone? Put my $1 on that, please, to win $1 million.
No kidding.
Please. Okay. Hey, man, that's how you make money, baby.
That's right.
Minimum for the maximum. That's the the double fumble parlay. That's pretty fun. Even I make myself, you know what, David? I'm the funniest person I know. I literally am. Many people, when I tell my stupid jokes look at me like I'm insane. They have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm laughing. All right, Kansas City at Denver, -8.5 for the Chiefs, over under 44.5. I don't know what to make of this game. Scary as hell. You know what? I've learned my lesson. I'm betting on the overs on Bronco games. I'll tell you that. I'm the one idiot who bets the Broncos over, where the under is a complete free money job. If you want to print money, you go to the ATM and type in Denver Broncos under, David, and you're a rich man this year. Only one time is that bet lost. But -8.5 and 44.5. I mean, how do you not take the under again, to be honest?
Oh, I am, and I'm moving it.
Oh, okay. Tell us more, David.
So I'm going to go here, Steve. Let me see what my number looks like for what I like here.
I think I actually took it and moved it already. Late night in a drunken Christmas parlay. Drunken Christmas party parlay.
So I'm either going to go to 34.5 or 37.5. We're hoping, maybe a 28-3 thumping by the Chiefs. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, let's be honest. How many points is Denver going to score? They don't score hardly any ever. So I feel really good about it under here, and you have a lot of room to how far you'd want to take this down. If you want to go to 32.5, that's plus 416. You could go anywhere from, Steve, what I think would be achievable would be 34.5. And if you want to go to under 39.5, I think you have all that range to play with while getting good value out of it.
Man, I don't want to do this. But the Travis Kelce, 2 touchdowns at plus 420, our favorite number. Parlay to Jamar Chase, 2 touchdowns. Parlay to George Pickens, 2 touchdowns. Parlay to Nick Westbrook-Akine, 2 touchdowns. Again, David, what do you think $20 pays? 91,000 was the last time. We're just adding Kelce.
All right, so we're going to add that. We're going to go, we said 91. Let's try 117.
474,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you would have had me going up and up and up forever.
Yeah. No need to play that game anymore. I don't know if I'd want to put Kelce in there for the Denver defense. Hey, but he gets 2 touchdowns all the time. Why wouldn't you do it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So maybe that's my angle for the 4:00 games. I did what you did. I did I think my drunken Christmas party parlay was all 3 unders at the 4:00 windows.
Okay.
I moved them all down in a little 3-way. So I think that's what would happen there. So maybe I take a chance with Kelce. That's a dancing partner scenario. We're staring around the room looking to match people up to dance. Okay, Seattle, 3.5-point favorites. Dave hates the Seahawks. They're his prime competition right now at this moment in time. But they're the Carolina Panthers, maybe hot on the heels of the Commanders as well. So a complete stinkfest game maybe in the vision of nephew David. Over under 44.5. Though Grande loves the under in this game. Kenneth Walker III, he's going to be out. So there's no Rashad Penny to be seen anywhere in sight either. So the Seahawks down on the depth chart to their running backs. Let's see. Who is the listed running back for Seattle today? It might be the one. Walker is the guy they brought off the bench that we liked. Yeah, there's not even any alternate rushing yards for anyone on Seattle at this point. The only 2 rushing props. Put it this way, Geno Smith is favored to have the most rushing yards for the Panthers today at 18.5. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
So I guess they're throwing the ball in Seattle today. But, Carolina, a decent defense. This game has an El Stinko factor written all over it to me. I could completely see this as an under game. Nephew Dave hates both of these teams completely with full passion in his heart at the moment. So what do you think? How does this play out?
Well, Steve, we hope Carolina wins, but something tells me the Seahawks will take care of business at home. It is tough to say though. I mean, we look at Carolina and we're like, It's Carolina, not a great season for them, but they do have a little bit of feistiness. So we hope they can go in there and take care of some business. I don't know. There's a couple things you could look at here. But all in all, we're hoping for a Seahawks loss. I'd have to dive into this. There's always the game props that I like. Let's look at that. We're gonna look at these touchdown props real quick here. So for each team to score a touchdown in each half is at plus 180. I think I would probably be pretty comfortable with that.
Okay. All right. So you could actually see some points here, potentially.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Weather doesn't appear to be bad up there in Seattle for this game, so that could actually happen. We shall see. Better plays on the David. We talked about finding the best plays on the board.
Yeah.
And let's going with them. I can't find much in terms of anything that I like in this Seattle and Carolina game. So I will take a full pass on this one. I'm now actually clicking through the graphics of the games that I missed, displaying those for all the viewers out there, David. If you want your defensive rankings, just keep watching. Yeah, so I've been terrible with the graphics today, is the moral of that point. But let's get to maybe a funner game, David. It's Tom Brady's homecoming. 49ers, Brock Purdy in the house, a third-string quarterback who will have his chance to carry the Niners to Joe Montana and Steve Young glory and legacy. Could you imagine you're the seventh? Here we go, Mr. Irrelevant. You've heard that a million times this week. Could you imagine being Brock Purdy saying, hey, man, here I am now. I could be Joe Montana and Steve Young.
Right.
Don't you have to say that to yourself at some point during this process? So we'll see what Purdy does today. The Buccaneers, a decent defense. This is the weather game. Dave Del Grande, feet on the ground out there in the San Francisco Bay Area. He is living in this at the moment, and he says it is a complete mess out there. So Levi Stadium could be completely flooded here, and we could have a complete slop fest with Brady. Only Tom Brady's second time playing in San Francisco in his career. Did you know that, Dave?
I did not.
I'm trying to think when it was. The last time I remember the Patriots playing the 49ers there was the year Brady was actually hurt and Matt Castle was the quarterback, actually, which they won. Matt Castle had a great year that year that Brady had that week one knee injury to the Kansas City, if you remember that. Backup Matt Castle led the Patriots to an 11-5 record that season. Impressive. Not in the playoffs, though. 11-5 team did not make it the playoffs that year.
That's crazy.
But Super Bowl champions the next year. So let's see here. Anything else on the 49ers? I mean, I get it's a slop fest. There's a lot of rain. I don't know. I guess you take the alternate under. I already put it on my drunken Christmas parlay I've talked about here in the last few minutes. So somewhere in my tickets, I have San Fran, Tampa Bay under the total. I'll probably move it significantly lower, to be honest. If you want to make an argument to take the Buccaneers plus 3.5, I could see that too. This is a tough game, David. What do you think?
Indeed. If Steve, the only thing that I'm really interested here in this game to play would be the information that we got from Del Grande. If it's a slop fest, I'm gonna go under.
He said save all your money all day because you want something to play with at night and bet the under. That's what he
right. I think that's gonna be the play. I'm either gonna take it right where it is, or I'm gonna move it a little bit. Probably move it a little bit, try and squeeze a little juice out of that. But as far as anything else, I'm probably just gonna leave that alone and hope for kind of a messy, low scoring game.
All right. So I think that's what happens there. And as far as props go, you don't take anything in this game. There's not a prop in the world you can. If it's going to be a mud bogs slugfest with two great defenses, There is not a prop in the world that you will take unless David, you can see a complete rookie implosion and you take the Tampa Bay defense at 80-1 odds for 2 touchdowns.
Or that I get, yeah.
In a sloppy weather game, man. Hey, there's dumber things you could do in life. Trust me.
This is true.
I'll try to live up to all of those here as we round out the 2022 campaign. Actually, we want to go out on the winning note. We both have winning tickets this week, actually.
Indeed.
So we're not doing too bad in life, I guess. Chargers and the Dolphins. Dolphins -3.5. Over under 53.5. This is the night game. Could be a ton of fireworks in this game. Again, Del Grande thinks so. I mean, this could be the highest scoring game of the year, to be honest, of all the games that we played. David, do you know the highest scoring game of the season this year?
I do not. Is it? No, I'm not sure, actually.
I don't know. I'd have to scroll week to week. I've given myself plenty of time to look up all these things I ask myself during a break. And no, I don't look up any of them. In fact, I don't even remember 5 seconds I pass after talking about it. So how do you expect me to look it up? But there could be a ton of points in this game. So if you want to say, here you go, man, let's just load it up here. Oh, yeah, no, this is the game he said. He said, bet all your money on the over. Save your money for the night game. Yes, this is the game. Both defenses are terrible. They could actually both get into the 30s as well as far as individual scoring goes.
Right.
Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa. So over 62.5 points is plus 255. Over 64.5 is plus 310. You know what? If you have the dancing partners in the room and you know someone's got to make this dance with this super over, so you might as well throw it on some kind of crazy ticket, I guess. I don't know, Dave. What do you see?
Oh yeah, we're gonna go all over here.
Okay, there we go.
I'm gonna go to 64.
You know what? And when David moves a line that much too, that should tell you something, people out there. That literally should. That should raise red flag, standard alert. Let's go take every penny I have in the bank and put it on this over. So yeah, we'll go on that. And I think it's just game on with the props too. Passing props. What's Herbert's passing? I took him for some ridiculous number last week. He didn't achieve. But can he do that this week? Herbert to get 350 yards is plus 320. 400 yards for Justin Herbert is plus 880. I could see Justin Herbert getting 400 yards passing tonight against the Dolphins, to be honest. So maybe there's a chance on that. Hopefully my life won't depend on that at the end of the day, to be honest. Maybe it will. Tua Tagovailoa, 350 plus yards. Just kidding, people. Plus 350 for plus 350 for 350 plus yards for Tua Tagovailoa. Did that make sense to you, Dave? It's the same number of the same point spread.
Right.
So I'm looking at this 350 plus 350. Wait. What is it? What is that? Is exactly what that is. 350 yards of passing pays plus 350.
Hey,
that's a better way to.
Oh yeah, and I could definitely see a touchdown and a field goal from both these teams in each half.
Oh yeah. You see, yes. There could be touchdowns, field goals. Again, all right. So, what did you call this? Did we have a name?
Oh, the pyramid play.
The pyramid play. Okay, yeah, it's the pyramid play. So, if you're going to get to a super over of like 65 points, obviously you need a lot of points in both halves to do that. So what are the chances that both teams provide that? Well, usually to get to a super over, both teams do have to provide that. So you go to the natural assumption that they can get a touchdown and a field goal, each team in each half of the game. So, 20 points. If you double that, that's 40 points, right, David?
Right.
And if you're trying to get to a super number of over 62.5 plus 285, well, you know what? I only need to get 40 points kind of to win my bet. And the payouts are ridiculous.
Right.
So you need a deep dive. You need the deep dive to find these on your usually under scoring props, stuff like that on your betting menu. Go for scoring props, stuff like that. But look for teams to get the 2 touchdowns in a game, 2 field goals in a game in each half.
Right.
And those, I think there are numbers like plus 1,500, plus 2,000, plus 1,800. Some really good numbers and payouts. So in theory, you can get your crazy over without even having to go over, just by getting a couple different random types of scores at the right times.
Hey, and Steve, that by itself, if you're liking, you're like, all right, this is the shootout we think it's going to be. Just a single bet on this for a $20 bill pays out $260.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that's each team to get a touchdown and a field goal in each half.
Right.
$20 wins you $260.
I don't think that's terrible.
I don't think that's too bad either. So yeah, tonight Mike Tirico and company. Tune in to him, NBC Sports, 8:20 kickoff from SoFi Stadium. The Dolphins and the Chargers. The Russian hacker, the Dolphins coach. he looks like the Russian hacker, doesn't he?
A little bit.
All right, one more game. That's it. Patriots Monday Night Football -1.5. Over under 43.5 at Arizona. This is a game I was hoping to be out live, to be honest, but we opted for the Christmas party and the run things back here at the shop. So no December vacation for me. But West Coast, I might be coming for you sooner than later. All right, just gonna tell you that. At least Florida. I'm gonna get out of the cold at some point, David.
Oh,
and go warm these.
I'm in Florida in March.
Are you really?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking more of the dead of some cold spell. We might have to do some playoffs from the road here as you're in studio.
Right.
Play that old game again, and we talk hot. We can do what the puck is every night while I'm on the road.
Right. Yep.
Spring training baseball tour. How about that?
Yeah, there we go.
How about that? How about that for an event? That's what we need to do.
Right.
Let's go cover spring training in Florida.
That might be an idea.
The turbines of the engines are rolling. That's in the prime of pool season. Screw your pool. I don't want to do anything with it. Don't call me. I want to go to Florida. Patriots -1.5 over under 43.5. If I want to go to Florida, then maybe I put $1,000 in the Pats on the alt line because Bill Belichick drafted Cliff Kingsbury, and he can slap him around, old man coach style, to that young buck wannabe know-it-all who has his quarterback running around like a crazy person, yelling at his wide receiver, superstar on the sidelines, like he's the one who sucks, when it's, in fact, the quarterback with a terrible contract. All right. But, for me to have this happen with the Patriots, to put my $1,000 down, which I'm not putting $1,000 on the Patriots, people, so calm down on those comments out there. If you're starting to type the Twitter freaker outers, David, as we call them.
Right.
Maybe. But the Patriots to win -16.5 is plus 560. So now my $1,000 I want to take on vacation, David, I'm just going to put that on the Patriots -16.5 points. I'm going to get $5,600 on the return, and it's not quite the Turks and Caicos, but the Florida Fort Lauderdale Hard Rock Casino will do.
We can do that.
The glistening white sandy beaches of Tampa Bay, Clearwater. Yes. $5,600 go a long way in Florida.
Why not?
Lay her down and smack 'em, yak 'em.
Okay. So Patriots and Cardinals tomorrow night. If you're going to make me take a prop in this game, which, twist my arm in the Patriots game, of course we take Ramondre Stevenson for 2 touchdowns, but he's only plus 330. So maybe not that. Yeah. Man, could this be an over game too? It depends how much the Cardinals care, I guess. I don't know. The Patriots can't score. Mac Jones has 4 touchdowns all year. Well, I'm not talking Patriots over 4. Although we had that pegged right in the Minnesota Vikings game for sure. What is Mac Jones' old alternate passing yards? Plus 275 plus yards passing for Mac Jones is at plus 300. I have no faith in that.
No, none.
Kyler Murray, alternate passing yards. He's right there. He's the same. He's actually a shorter shot at plus 260 for 275 yards plus, or 300 yards plus is plus 450 for Kyler Murray. I don't know, David. Your thoughts on this?
It's really not much, Steve. There's I would be tempted with an underplay, I think. Just because I think the Patriots defense would help that cause. But there's a Kyler Murray over 1.5 touchdowns for plus 120. That could be a little bit of a tease there. But other than that, Steve, I don't really have much. Let's see if there's some kind of scoring prop we can get into. And try and we have a scoring special. 1,700 for a touchdown and field goal from each team, each half in that game. If you're not comfortable with that, we can go just to the touchdown props. For one touchdown in each half, for both teams is plus 190. If you feel a little bit better about that. I'm not going to do anything with this today. Now, I'll probably change my mind, maybe try and pair it with a hockey game or two, just to have a little bit of a mixed bag, keep your attention in a couple spots, which is sometimes something I like to do. So I'll come back to this game on Monday, Steve, but I would look at an under or some scoring props.
All right. So I'll just round it out with that. The Patriots, I'll just take them as a Homer fan that they will beat the Cardinals by a game that I'm missing in the desert. I could be laying out in the pearly white sands of Arizona, getting this pale skin. It's much needed sunshine right now. This cold, dreary, cloudy December afternoon here in Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America, deep in broadcasting studios. But at plus 560 at a big price, we'll go ahead and pay for our Florida trip, David.
There we go.
So go Pats in that regard. Okay, let's do our picks. Why not? What do we got? We haven't had any kind of Nephew Dave news flash.
No good specials this week, Steve. That is very disappointing for me.
So this will be the underlying music for your selections, David. What do we got?
All right, so today the card is going to hold. I have each team to score a touchdown in each half in the Browns-Bengals game. Took Derrick Henry for 2. Under 38.5 in the Chiefs game. That's where I moved it to. I got plus 185 out of that. And then I went a little bit sideways with this one. Eddie Pinheiro over 1.5 field goals made.
That is going very sideways.
Go Carolina kicker today. Kick 2 field goals for me, please. I usually don't do stuff, but I saw that and I was like, you know what? That's different. So we'll go with that.
I love it. Eddie, I'm like, who the hell does he play for? And then you pull him off the Carolina roster. I was like, oh man, that's awesome.
And then so Steve, I have my my big shot here that I believe I talked with you yesterday or this morning about. So it's that scoring prop with the touchdown and field goal in each half for each team. I did that for the Jets-Bills game, Panthers-Seahawks game, Dolphins-Chargers, and the Bucks and 49ers. And I made that last night. Yesterday, you can see how much of a mistake that was because of the weather there in San Francisco. That might put that in jeopardy. That one pays out pretty heavily if somehow it all gets home. But it's in a round robin, so I really only need 2 to make any money off of it. And Steve, I believe that is that's about it for me today. I'm in the process of building one more. Oh, here we go. The Vikings over 51.5. We talked about that earlier. Getting pretty good value for that. Each team for a touchdown in the first half, or each half, sorry, for the Jets and Bills. I've got Kenny Pickett for over 1.5 touchdowns, and we're going to round it out with under 44 alt over under in the Eagles-Giants game.
Okay. I'm going to do this. And I always told myself that I would be a fantastic gambler if I just had one pick in the NFL and that was it. It just made that one pick sure lock. And you know what? I should have been doing that segment all along. There's always one game I'm like, that's going to happen. I don't know if I see that this week, to be honest. Actually, it pains me to say this, to be honest. It's going to pain you even more. It's probably Dallas minus 17.5 over the Texans. I mean, seriously, the Texans have nothing to work with. I just don't see how, the game plan is not, let's just bottle up Dameon Pierce and,
right.
How's Houston going to move the ball? Literally. And Miles Davis will be under complete siege by the Dallas defense. So I guess my super lock of the week is Dallas. But here's the deal. I don't have super confidence in anything that I'm getting ready to tell you. So this is the 1 week where I guess I'm like, I don't know, but I guess I'll do this. And that's the strategy moving forward today. So we're going to go ahead with the popular play of Minnesota and Detroit over alternate, I guess. We'll take the Jets and Bills over alternate, I guess. We'll take the Steelers again, alternate line, I guess. Eagles, Giants, no play there. Bengals, Browns, we'll get the prop in a minute. Tennessee, Jacksonville, I have a sneaky suspicion for an over. I just do there. So I'll get involved with that. And I guess I'll get involved with playing something stupid and ridiculous like 30 points with the Dallas Cowboys. Why has my life come to this? Why has my life come to this? Denver, Kansas City, I might want to throw up by 4 o'clock, to be honest. So these will be the perfect games to do so too. Carolina and Seattle. Maybe I'll take Eddie Pinheiro for over 1.5 field goals there in Seattle. San Francisco. You're supposed to laugh at that, David. Tampa Bay and San Fran. I'm staying away, but I'll watch to go to bed in a snooze fest. I guess I'm super over in the Chargers Dolphins. I don't want to stay up late on a Sunday trying to get the 65 points by these two teams, but I guess then maybe that's the case. We might take Josh Reynolds for a couple scores tonight too. What is he paying out actually? Let me look at that real quick as we transition into the props. Yes, and I'll take the Patriots tomorrow night. So if you like any of those, tag along. I'm not telling you to bet them either, people. So don't get mad. That's the thing, David. We're not here to tell you what to bet on.
Right.
You need to make your own decisions. And we show you different ways of how to make the minimum into the maximum. Right? Isn't that our point, David?
That's our goal.
So 2 touchdowns for Josh Palmer. Is that who I said? Yes. Palmer, he's the wide receiver for the Chargers, plus 1,600. Now Mike Williams is back tonight. Hey, maybe Mike Williams, 13-1 odds for 2 touchdowns.
Hey.
I could get on board with that. He hasn't played in a while. He's back. Good player, that Mike Williams. Good player. Okay, player props. And we'll go ahead and get out of here. Oh, man. I have a sneaky suspicion on Thielen for 2 touchdowns today. But I'm going to go and pull a maneuver here. I'm going to go back to the well on my boy DeAndre Swift. I'll throw him in my 2 touchdown parlay I have going with the other guys. So we'll see if Swift can get 2 scores for the Lions today. Other 2 touchdown scores for me will be Jamar Chase, 2 touchdowns for George Pickens, 26-1 odds. Chase is at plus 550. And you know what? I'm going to take a shot just because of his name, and I like him. Nick Westbrook-Ikine, plus 2,500 for 2 touchdowns for Westbrook-Ikine. I'm tempted to throw Travis Kelce in for 2 touchdowns as well, David. I mean, you can never argue against Kelce.
Right. That's for sure.
But Denver with the number 2 defense makes the best argument yet against it. As far as passing yard props, The one I like the most would be Mr. Kenny Pickett of the Steelers. I can see this game going over 36.5 in a weird way, to be honest. You weren't too super confident on the Steeler under, right, this week?
No.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Whenever you're confident on your super unders, I want to stay away, is what I've learned from going over. But to get, maybe a late add-on with the Steelers and the over the Steelers. Hey, man, to get over 50.5 points is plus 560.
Why not?
So Kenny Pickett passing prop, I like that. We'll take him for 275 yards at plus 470. And maybe a little frisky 300 yards at plus 750. In fact, maybe that's my quarterback little fun parlay. We'll go ahead and take Justin Herbert and Kenny Pickett to throw a lot of yards today, 700 combined. That parlay would actually be a plus 750 parlay to a plus 880. That is a nice payday at the end of the day if those two things can happen. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We will get out of here. We will wish you guys luck on your tickets. Yes, expect complete chaos next weekend, people. Our Christmas party at CP Shucker Shore Drive. I would assume the worst with audio and technical issues right now. Because we're actually moving the studio on the road. In fact, let me show you. This is how ready we are for this. This right here is it right now.
Well, we got it.
You see how it's connected to nothing? I don't even know if I know where the cord is. I think it's back here.
It's around here somewhere. We'll find it.
We're going to make this happen, though, one way or another. And we have a 12-foot banner outside the show. So special Christmas party next week. Special live show Saturday at 11. Good luck, everyone. See you next time. Round robin. Let's win some money today.
It's like we're back in the studio. Los Angeles, 1997.
That's a good analogy.
Brett Gurewitz behind the controls. This is Brett.
I don't need to tell the truth, but I never lie. I don't need to bow to you. You're just passing by. I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I come back to you. Get inside my troubled mind with all of your threats. Sometimes I think I was blind. Not before we met. I never wanted to be the one that you depend on for your life. When you cry, it smells like soup. Sound like Shonen knife. Never fear about what I said all night. I gotta ride. Each time I said all night. No action's mine. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night. You're an evil Ipso girl. I'm a twisted man, tearing through your perfect world. Make you understand. I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I come back to you. and do the things you do. Stay all night. I got it right. Each time I stay all night. No, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all. I would never treat you bad. You deserve the best from me. If you want to keep your place, you better get down on yours.
Yeah, Todd wrote this one.
Yeah.
You think? This is not mine.
Stay all night. I got it right. Each time I stay all night. No, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night.
R.I.P. Todd.